Today we celebrate the 77th Independence Day of Israel, our closest friend and ally in the Middle East.
Just here want to acknowledge and salute and celebrate Israel's 77th year.
I'm proud to congratulate Israel on 77 years of independence.
77 years of resilience.
Happy birthday, Israel. Happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day. In Tel Aviv, 77 years ago, Jewish leaders signed Israel's Declaration of Independence.
America was the first country to recognize Israel as an independent state.
The generation of 1948 fought for and secured Israel's independence with blood, sweat, and tears.
This milestone is a testament to the resilience and the enduring spirit of the Israeli people.
The things you've been through, 48, War for Independence, 67, 73, and of course a year and a half ago, October 7th.
I fully support Israel's right to defend itself against these terrorists and their backers in Tehran.
This is the second year in a row that not all Israelis are able to celebrate their Independence Day.
It's past time to bring the rest of the hostages home and restore peace to the region.
We refuse to sit idly by while they suffer.
The United States and Israel have a binding, ironclad partnership.
A strong bipartisan majority of the United States Congress stand firmly with our ally Israel.
It's a win-win relationship.
We must continue to build support for the relationship that transcends politics.
It is a bond rooted in our shared values of liberty,
the commitment to religious freedom, and the inherent respect for human life.
Please join me in standing for Israel, for freedom, for peace.
A strong, vibrant, powerful Israel is essential for the world.
May our friendship continue to grow long into the future.
We are in this together.
Fast friends between Israel and America.
Happy Independence Day.
Happy birthday.
I'm Israel. Hi.
Really appreciate all that y'all do.
It's the Homeless Left with Matt Weinglass and co-host Craig Pasta Jardula. Episode 105, Divide and Conquer, and an all-new top censored news of the week. And here's your host, Matt Weinglass.
Okay, here we go. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of The Homeless Left. Just getting set up here. Okay, we are good to go, guys. We want to welcome everybody to today's show. Let's see here. Okay, yes, we are good on StreamYard. We're good on all of our platforms right now. Welcome, you guys, getting to our show for the first time. Welcome. We're gonna give you guys a good one today. We have a great lineup planned. We have our co-host Craig Pasta coming in just a bit. Wanted to give a shout out to that opening. That is AIPAC Tracker, giving us all of the people that we know that contribute to the apartheid state that we live in because of all the money that buys them off. They don't work for us. They work for their handlers. And more people are discovering that more and more. Although the trick is still to divide us and conquer us. And that's why we're calling today's show Divide and Conquer. It's been 77 years since Israel declared its state of what we know is apartheid. So here we are fighting back against the war machine, the U.S., Israel, Western imperialism war machine. We fight back against Big Pharma. We do all of the fighting back against that the mainstream doesn't do. They protect it. The journalists, they call themselves journalists. They're not. They're propagandists. That's why we're here to do the work that the mainstream media refuses to do. So as I said, we're going to be joined by Craig Pasta in just a bit. We're going to be looking at Trump's Middle East. Some are calling it a peace tour. We're calling it a Psyop, but we're going to look into that. The Menendez brothers has new hearing results right here in LA. So we'll be getting to that later in the show. There was a disruption at Congress with RFK Jr. There's different takes on that, and we can see different assessments of watching the same thing. So we're going to get to that one as well. We got a new loudest voice of the week. It's a bonus one. We actually did one on Tuesday's show, but this one was so good we had to add it into the show. So we're going to get to that one as well. And we're doing a top censored news of the week as well, and a talking back with you guys, responding to your comments right here on the show live later in the show. So you guys, please engage with us. Don't give us a like. It's awesome when you do that. We're fighting the algorithm that is set against us on all these platforms, whether it's our Rumble channel, which we've been at least thankful that Rumble hasn't pulled the plug on us. That's been good. So we're grateful for that, but there's still a shadow ban we have to fight back against because we're not allowed to call out these things. They say, well, they'll let us have the conversation, but does that mean, are people going to know we're having the conversation? So that's a daily fight we have to have. But we know that, to solve this, at least in the immediate time right now, today, what you guys can do is just give us a like, give us an engagement, and we will read back your comments on the show later, and we call it talking back. So we'll get to that later as well. We want to give you guys some good news up front, that the homeless left is now, our burner channel is now finally getting some traction back on YouTube. If you guys don't know, we had our original channel, the homeless left, terminated. It was terminated on YouTube for being dangerous, I guess, hurting the community. We were told that it was unsafe that we had these discussions. We were told that it was medical misinformation. They gave us strikes. And then eventually there wasn't even a strike. We just woke up one day and the channel was gone. But we started a new one, a burner channel, about a couple months ago. It is called, we call it, is it THL? You can get to it at THL Presents, just the @ THL Presents on YouTube. It is officially still our burner channel. We can't, if we write out the homeless left on there, they're going to red flag it and it's going to be gone. But the good news I wanted to get to is that we had massive engagement in the last 3 days. In the last 72 hours, one of our videos, it doubled our subs and it's up to way past 40,000 views. The video itself happens to be a Free Palestine video where we're covering the Gal Gadot protest at her film shoot that they were doing in London, and the Free Palestine protesters, against genocide, they showed up and disrupted that film shoot. We covered it. That's the one blowing up on our channel of all things. So when they told us that we were guilty of misinformation, when we were, making the community unsafe, well, guess what, YouTube? Guess what, Google? It seems that these conversations are actually not just unsafe, they're actually important to have, because the engagement has been nothing but positive. I've never seen, we have like a 98.5% approval rate from the actual people, not the Google, oligarchs, but actual people stumbling on our channel. So we're going to keep it going. We appreciate you guys out there helping us continue to fight, like I said, fighting against the censorship industrial complex and all that. So this is I threw that up earlier. There you go. That's the channel. And then, of course, we're here on Rumble and on Twitter and on X. So we appreciate you guys sticking with us on whatever platform's easier for you. But we'll continue to expand. And you guys know, we used to be once a week. We're now twice a week. We are on every Tuesday and Thursday, live at noon Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern, and we're just going to continue the conversation. So if you're new, welcome. We want to remind everyone who's watching today that our channel is here for anybody who's feeling uneasy about their state of their community, of politics in general, just if you're feeling like you can't speak up without somebody telling you to shut up. If the party that you've been part of, or the team, or the tribe, we call it a tribe, if that team is kind of making you frustrated because if you have any challenges for them, they tell you to get out, shut your mouth, you're helping the other side. If you're not able to have real conversations, ask real questions without feeling bullied and shamed, then get out. And we welcome you here to this arena, which is non-tribal. This is a non-tribal approach to news, but a non-tribal approach to life. So we happen to be homeless from the left. You might be homeless from somewhere else, from the right, from the up, the down, all around. It doesn't matter. Even if you're upside down, we welcome you. Let's be homeless together here on the Homeless Left. Okay, without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in our co-host for today. You know him, you love him. Please welcome back to the show, Craig Pasta Jardula.
Hey, Matt, what's up? Thank you for having me on. As always, I love co-hosting with you on The Homeless Left. Oh, excuse me. THL.
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 It's been fantastic, Craig, having you, and we've been just, I just feel so much more elevated having these conversations with someone like you. You've been doing this for so long, and I feel like, man, I wish we just started earlier. That's my only regret. I wish we started earlier, when voices were really needed, but they're really needed right now, and that's why we're doing this. And we're excited to keep doing this together. So,
hey, it's going to be a great conversation today. I know you're going to have some. Let's look at it every single angle. You're very good at that. I feel a little bit black-pilled lately. A little bit, but I'm going to call the shots like I see them. And right now, it's really important. Let me tell you this much, though. I really hope that at the end of the day, down the road, the people who were true and didn't just do things or say things to make a living or went along just to get along, I hope they are, exposed for who they are. And the people who went and took the shots, took the demonetization, took the just nuking of your channel and all that stuff, that were rewarded for truth-telling at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's a good hope, and we got to stay positive about it. But we know, look, sometimes we feel our community is larger than it actually is, because something else will happen. And we'll be like, hey guys, we can see where the censorship is happening. We can see, who's being shamed and bullied. And then you go, uh-oh, some of these people we thought were going to be on the right side took the other side. And you're like, man, I guess they never really had principle to begin with. But that's what it's about, right? It's having consistent principle, having consistent courage. And it's, you can't really get this stuff wrong. The only way you can get things wrong is if you don't have enough information. But that's how we have to be humble in this arena. We have to be humble when a story breaks. We don't have all the information yet, but we're allowed to ask questions. Once we get the information, it's not that hard to figure out the right and the wrong to it, because we got to be for the people. We got to be for free speech. We got to be, against the war machine. There's just certain things that we have to be for, First Amendment rights, all that stuff. So it's not that hard to get it right once you get out of that distraction of tribe and all that stuff. But you guys know what we're about, and that's what it has. We have to have that humility, and sometimes take a breath, take a step back, and look at all the information, and then we'll figure it out, and we'll figure it out together. So,
yep.
Okay. Well, it's time for, I think we're going to do some top censored news. You ready for some top censored news?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go ahead. Okay. We'll play this in. Here we go.
Uncanceled Comedy Collective presents Top Censored News of the Week.
It's time for Top Censored News of the Week, bringing you the stories the mainstream media refuses to cover. But if they do cover them, they always do it in a very sloppy or dishonest way, and it's always on purpose. I'm here with our co-host today, Craig Pasta Jardula. We're going to break down the 3 top stories they didn't want you to know about, one at a time. Let's go ahead and start with the number 3 story. Coming in at number 3, Diddy trial witness Casey Ventura confirmed Trump hotel shooter and self-proclaimed Diddy sex slave was one of Diddy's sex workers. Let's bring that story up. Here we go. Oh, I got to grab it. My bad. Here we go.
It's okay.
Here we go.
It's okay.
Grabbing it right now. Oh, boom. Here it is. Here we go. This is from the New York Post. Trump club shooter who claimed he was Diddy's sex slave was hired by music mogul Casey testifies, and this happened yesterday. Let's see. This is some of the story here. Casey Ventura confirmed Trump hotel shooter, self-proclaimed Diddy sex slave who claims Diddy, Hillary Clinton, and Obama are part of a satanic cabal trying to kill Trump was one of Diddy's sex workers. In court today, Casey identified Jonathan Audi as one of the sex workers who she was forced to engage in freak-off parties. We heard about the freak-off parties, and he goes on to talk about what he had exposed about 2018. Now, we remember the guy had a police interview that nobody was really paying attention to back then, but now it's like this guy wasn't just babbling nonsense. There was actually some claim to it. And the claim was that Diddy was part of a black Illuminati group, engages in pedophilia, animal abuse, satanic rituals, and CIA mind control programming. He also mentioned satanic rituals are conducted at the Bohemian Grove. Now, we've looked into the Bohemian Grove story as well over these last couple of years. So there's definitely some stuff there. And again, the mainstream's not going to tell you this part of the case. In 2018, he insisted the cabal had an agenda to kill Trump, and the assassination attempt was coming. Last week, in the Daily Mail confirmed that Diddy signed an NDA with Odie for $5 million in exchange for his silence. Let's take a look at this is, well, you know what? We saw some of this video, but the New York Fed agents just released the full 15-minute video. This one, let's see here. I'm just gonna bring this one up here. I got to keep this one on mute because it has copyrighted music over it.
Of course.
Okay, give me a second here. Got to share the screen.
That was a trick that a lot of people want to do to get people's live stream shut down. They would go play music by it, and then all of a sudden,
oh yeah,
shut it down. That's like
yeah. So, oh, there we go. That was a little. Here we go. Sharing now. We will fix it in post. Here we go.
Well, you got us.
There we go.
There you go.
So this tape, yeah, this is the full 15 minutes. And the media, look, it's not like the media is not, the mainstream's acknowledging this, the abusive relationship, all this stuff. You'll see some of this transpire, but that's not really the hardest story. And the reason why we're putting this in number 3 is because there's a story the mainstream is missing here, because they want to make Diddy into this unique, horrible, twisted piece of ass that did all these things independently, and they don't want to look at the part about the grooming and the larger thing and it's the same with Epstein, right? The same thing as far as he was this unique pedophile that did these weird things.
He was a bad apple.
Yeah, the bad apple. That's exactly it. And we're all kind of conditioned to look at it this way, that there's just this bad apple. You get rid of the bad apple, and then society goes back to be normal.
Yeah,
I think that the part that a lot of people miss here is who groomed this guy. And you know what? We looked it up, and we found the guy. And this was a few months back. We already covered this on the show. His name is Clive Davis. He's the co-founder with Diddy on Bad Boy Records. Yeah. And you know what's really fascinating, Craig, is that we went back to Wikipedia, and Clive Davis has had himself removed from any link to P. Diddy since we looked at it last year. It's very interesting. So this guy, he's keeping his distance, but this is the grooming process that happens where the people that they get to kind of get a free pass. Here's a clip of somebody trying to get a shot, a question and answer with him recently, and he's going to play dumb. Here we go. This is Clive Davis, co-founder of Bad Boy Records with Diddy from 1993. He's going to play dumb here.
Curious about the status of P. Diddy.
Status of what?
P. Diddy. Diddy.
Like puppy. The status of puppy.
What do you make of that situation? All right. No comment from Clive Davis on P. Diddy. Mr. Davis, you're a major influence on the career of P. Diddy. Have you spoken to him since the federal raid?
Yes.
Have you spoken to Sean Combs? Any comment, Mr. Davis? Any comments about Diddy? He credits you as one of his mentors.
The dog.
Yeah. So this guy is clearly protected, and he won't ever have to be questioned about anything. Meanwhile, Diddy looks like he's going to be taking the fall for a lot of people. We've heard him say on record that if I go down, you're all going down with me. I wonder if he's indicating Clive in that sentiment. We've heard him say.
Yeah, I mean, there was accusations too as well in the conspiracy movement that Clive Davis killed Whitney Houston. You know what I'm saying? There's a video of I can't remember who it was, but another pop star that was sitting in an interview with Clive Davis, and Whitney comes in and crashes the interview real quick to give the girl a hug, and she hands the girl a letter. And then later on that night, supposedly Whitney was, 86, killed herself in the bathtub of a hotel. So, he's been connected to a lot of people for a long time. If you watch Surviving Diddy, you'll see the whole story about Clive Davis. And he's connected to a lot of other bad people up there. This is the top of the, these are the people they're going to protect. They're going to throw Sean Puffy Combs away, P. Diddy away, and make it about him when all these people above him are the ones who protected him for so long because they benefited from him, with their freak-offs.
Yeah. Yeah. And and I just want to say this part again. You go to Wikipedia right now, he's not linked anymore to P. Diddy. So to understand that you have that kind of power with Wikipedia, with Google, whatever, you can just do that. That really shows the kind of system we live in, where a guy like that, it's just not there. So the general public's not going to know this. And they're going to see, us talking about it. They're going to be like, well, let me look it up. And then they won't see it. And they'll be like, well, those guys are just trying to make sensationalism, but that's not the information is being controlled. And that's the problem. And so that's the first red flag when people see, why is this guy not linked on Wikipedia with him anymore? It's weird to me, and it's infuriating because like that information should be available. So that's where I'm coming from. Yeah, nothing shocking about the claims now. It's just I think that we're maybe able to have these discussions more, and the Pizzagate stuff, things that if you said 5 years ago you'd be like, you're crazy, shut up. Now we can actually have these discussions, so that's good. At least we can do it.
Now they just got to control the narrative. That's it. The narrative's out. Now they got to swing it their way, protect those who they have to protect, and move on. And I'm sure as soon as Clive leaves this planet, which he doesn't look like he's got many more years here, then a lot of stuff will come out and he'll be the fall guy.
Yeah. All right. Coming in at number 2, the House passed yet another anti-Semitism resolution. This one might be the most insane one yet. Let's take a look. It looks like House Resolution 352 on countering anti-Semitism passes in a 421-1 vote. The only no vote was, guess who?
Thomas Massey.
There you go. And
where was Marjorie?
Well, that's a good point because she's been very vocal about this now. Okay. I'm confused on the order of when the vote happened, but it seems like because we covered this on Tuesday, Craig, we got her little rant she did on, I don't know if it was Instagram or whatever, but she's saying enough with Israel. And that's great that she's saying that, but why did she actually vote on this? That's a great question. But this is the one, this is so crazy because when you look at this thing, it says, it's this number 2 here, it says calls on the executive branch and state and local leaders to educate the public on contributions to the Jewish American community and uplift Jewish stories and voices. Okay, so it's a bill to educate people on their narrative, I guess. Okay, and then number 3, it says takes all possible steps to ensure the safety, security, and dignity of American Jews in all aspects of their lives, including the workplace, college, university campuses, synagogues, and at home. It's so bizarre to have something like this, Craig. I mean, but we've talked about this with this special treatment and like this. This is the number one problem we face today. That narrative, it's just like I just don't understand how it can keep lasting. We knew that there was another bill that did get silenced, but they're just going to keep coming up with them. If this one fails, they'll just keep coming up with another one. This seems like there's this strategy to trying to get this into our legal judicial system to have these conversations be silenced, to force certain things in our education system. They're not going to stop. I mean, I don't even, so even if one gets stopped, there's just going to be another one. We need more, obviously we need more voices like Thomas Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, but do you think we're going to get more of those voices, or there's just going to be a couple of them here and there, and it's not actually going to help us move in the right direction?
Well, really, to tell you the truth right now, I think that we can see that our Congress is controlled, right? So I've taken a piece from Dr. Help me out. Our guy who's crazy out there. Love him, but he's...
Dr. Shiva? Are you talking
Dr. Shiva, So yesterday I got a phone call and somebody was like, You know, we need to come together right now. We have to find a way to build a bridge and understand. And that person was like, first off, let me know Jose Vega, his website, because he's running against Richie Torres, and Richie Torres is a hardcore supporter of Israel, takes a lot of AIPAC money, but we need to come together and we need to stop this. And I said, well, listen, we need to stop with the slogans. We need to get our language right. The hell with ceasefire now. They'll never happen. It'll pause for a little bit and they'll go back to it. It's been going on since 1945. So there's no such thing as a ceasefire. Why don't we go with, let's end the occupation. Let's end the occupation of our government by AIPAC, by the Zionist entity. And I think right now it's more about the public coming together, marching together, you know, libertarians, people on the right, people on the left who understand that this is one of the biggest problems, is that our government is being controlled. I mean, your opening video showed that so many people, they're loyal to Israel. And right now we have Donald Trump, and I'm sure we're going to get into that, pretending to be like no longer with Israel. And listen, a 12-year-old could read the room after what Marjorie Taylor Greene put out there, and so many people were like, all right, enough is enough. You know, we've already heard that, you know, there's a whole bunch of conservatives that are out there pushing back against Israel's control over our government. So right now, I don't think we're going to get any movement from all these people. Like you showed, they're controlled by Israel. They're bought off by Israel. It's going to have to come from the people. Right now is a good time for the people to come together. And I said this, I said, let's have a group of people. We're not going to talk about any other issues. It's going to be one issue driven, ending the occupation of our government, making them register in the FARA Act, getting rid of dual citizenship with Israel and America to be a congressperson, right? Like all this stuff needs to get out of there, and we need to get rid of them. And it doesn't make a difference how you feel on Medicare for all or the cops or anything. We put all that aside and we get rid of this control of our government. It's only going to come from the people. It's never going to come from our leaders. They are bought off. They are controlled.
Yeah, 100%. Well, it's going to take more people that have influence that can show their courage and demonstrate it consistently. So the hopeful part is that we have people doing that right now, people with a lot of following, and they're not backing down. People
Can I say something too?
Yeah, go for it.
It's not just people with influence, Matt. It's people who can organize. But the problem is, organizers in this country are only used to organizing with their own tribe.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
We got to start organizing across different lines for this one, because there's a lot of people on both sides of the aisle who are done with this.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. And so the organizing is probably the most important part. I agree with you on that. Another part is if you are somebody that has influence, as they say, influencer, and you can be vocal and be loud and not back down, that's also helpful. People, and they set good examples, and they kind of inspire others. So people like Miss Rachel, I wanted to give an update on her because this is important, because it shows that the censorship campaigns don't actually work at the end. When you try and cancel somebody, people come back harder and they say, why are you trying to silence this person? So I'm going to give an update. If you guys don't know about Miss Rachel, this is basically the campaign against her. So this was part of this, like, you can't talk about, you're doing children, broadcasting stuff for children, and you're saying we love and care for all kids, but you can't talk about Gaza or Palestine or it's anti-Semitic. So they do this whole campaign against her. Says she must be being paid, all this stuff. We've heard this garbage so many times. So it's Stop Anti-Semitism. This is like one of the most horrible groups that go around and targeting people, and they would benefit from these House bills to go through. Absolutely. So they're calling on Attorney General. This was when they reached out to Bondi to do this. This was a few weeks back, to investigate Miss Rachel for being funded by a foreign party. I mean, it's laughable that you would be saying that this woman is being funded when she's got her YouTube channel, millions of people, and she's just talking about loving all kids and all children, all people all over the world, and just doesn't want people to die. That's her language, and they're calling it. She must be being paid by an anti-Israel propaganda group or something. So she's they're saying she 20 million followers across all of her platforms. Her biggest one is actually YouTube, which they were trying to have it banned, but that was not going to fly. And so these are all they listed all these things she was doing. None of this is true. Obviously, if you guys can go check it yourself. This is all BS. And then they want people to go and and try and get her taken down. Well, guess what? Miss Rachel's been talking about Gaza for a while, and her popularity continues to increase. This is from Rafael Shimonov. Don't let them fool you into thinking opposing the mass slaughter and starvation of children is controversial. And her popularity starts to go up on IMDb gradually after all this happened. So people are paying attention that maybe wouldn't have been paying attention because they're trying to get rid of her. So that's important. And so I think that those are the type of examples that, like you said, aside from organizing, Craig, we like to see people like Miss Rachel stick it to their guns and not back down when they're coming after her hardcore, which they have been.
I think one of the biggest forms of hypocrisy when it came to RFK is that he was part of the 8 Children's Health Defense Network, but yet he didn't care about the children in Gaza. This is the opposite right here, what Mitch Rachel's doing. She's making sure that she speaks up for all children out there, and I think that's great. And I'm going to go check out Miss Rachel now. I didn't know much about her, but I'm glad. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad it is backfiring in certain situations. But the ruling class, like you said, divide and conquer, 105 today, right? They're very crafty. They understand how to pick this up and move it the other way. So we'll see what they do moving forward. This is going to be interesting because it's interesting times right now. But I suspect, and we'll talk about as we get into it, that you'll just see a pause. The stuff will go away. The number one problem with people in America is they pay too much attention to rhetoric rather than policy and actual decision-making.
Yeah. Check out Miss Rachel for sure. She does. It's kind of a character voice. She talks about, she has a different high pitch that she does when she's talking to kids. So people don't get to see her be herself too much. In this, I'm just going to play this clip because this is very inspiring, and she can talk about this out of her character on YouTube and just have this conversation. This is a little clip just so you get a sense of who she really is outside of her YouTube channel.
Her mom grabs her phone and has her little boys on FaceTime. And her boys are adorable. I think they're around age 7 and 9. And they're in Gaza. And here I am, like, thinking, like, trying to be sweet and talk to her boys in, like, the Miss Rachel voice. But I'm also like, what if my son was over there and my husband, and then I'm here with my little girl losing her legs? And then I'm thinking about the boys, and I was asking if there's any way they can come here. And this wonderful woman was saying, because I was asking kind of her to, she was translating, and I said, is there any way for them to come here? And she was saying no. And she was saying they don't eat anymore on FaceTime with them. Sorry.
No, it's a horrific situation.
And then the translator, I remembered she had said, like, thank you for seeing our children as human, when I had spoke out before. And so I want those little boys to have everything my little boy has. And their mom's a teacher like me. She's a math teacher.
Wow.
And people will be happy to hear that this is somebody who has people watching, and they're not there to watch politics. They're there to watch humanity. That's what they're tuning in for, human connection and how to elevate your family and your kids and learn and educate and inspire. That's what it's about. If you go to her YouTube channel right now, she actually shot up to 14.8 million. That's where she's at right now, which is far. And she's got other platforms too, but that's the one they were trying to get rid of, and it's only increased since this happened. So good for her, fighting for what's right and setting a good example, even as the House continues to put these stupid resolutions together and trying to get them through. We have people like Miss Rachel that will continue to be vocal and speak from the heart.
Good stuff. What up, Pavlos Verdes?
Okay, let's hit the number one story here.
Yeah, the reason why I came to the show. Let's go.
Let's go. Here we go. Coming in at number one. Israel kills over 100 in Gaza as Palestinians mark 77 years since the Nakba. So all of this talk, and we're going to get to this story later, but the talk about Trump and the peace talks and going around the Middle East, and I'm not talking to Netanyahu again. Well, this part of the story was missed. What Netanyahu said right before this 100-person kill. He told us he was going to do it. This is it from AF Post. Benjamin Netanyahu has declared that the Israeli military will launch a full-scale military operation in Gaza, even as peace, quote unquote, peace negotiations begin between Trump and leaders in the Arab world. And then this happened. There's the kill from Al Jazeera, 100 killed in Gaza. And these are multiple attacks. This isn't just one attack. We know of a hospital that was hit. They lied and said it was a school that was abandoned. They showed the wrong picture of the map when the hospital was getting bombed. We're gonna get to that in a second. But this is the overhead shot, and Adam E Media reported this one. This is one of the worst crimes in the history of mankind. Caught on camera. They sent 8 trucks to lure out the starving and then open fired with machine guns and tanks while filming and making fun of it. You want to see it? This is hold on to your seats, guys. This is the overhead shot that he's talking about. And this is what they're sharing in the Israeli circles and gloating about it right here. Those are Gazans going to get food that have been starving for weeks and weeks and weeks. It's coming, but I mean, obviously we're feeling memories of the Julian Assange stuff from Iraq and thinking like that was the worst possible thing we could ever see. And they weren't supposed to want to get that out. That was supposed to be secret. If you guys remember the Julian Assange release, the WikiLeaks
collateral murder, it's called.
Yeah. And once that was out, those weren't supposed to be out. That was wrong. So he got imprisoned for reporting on it. Fast forward to 2025, and they're just releasing it themselves. They're gloating about it. So they're just taking shots here randomly at anyone. And these are all people that they're tricked them into putting aid trucks out there, which has food in it. So each one of these they're just blowing them up randomly here. It's pretty disgusting. And then that's not it. Then you got the hospital. Let me throw this one up, and then we can reflect on. But this is the hospital that got purposely bombed. This doctor is gonna. This is Dr. Frezos Sitwa. He's gonna discuss what happened at the hospital and why this was reported incorrectly on purpose by Israel, by the IDF, and then of course by Western media, because they're all guilty of the misinformation as this is happening.
Israel and the military there say that actually they're going to continue until they destroy Hamas. What do you think that means for the patients at these hospitals?
I have to be honest, I think it means Gaza is just going to be destroyed, and I think that includes the patients in the hospitals. If destroying Hamas requires dropping 12 bombs on one small hospital, European hospital is a 200-bed facility. It's not big. If it requires dropping 12 bombs on them and then releasing a video that doesn't even show the building that you're purporting to bomb, I think that shows pretty clearly you're just bombing the hospital to bomb the hospital. It's got nothing to do with fighting Hamas. So if the Hamas thing is just an excuse to destroy all of Gaza, then I think it means they're going to continue destroying all of Gaza like they have, with the full support of my government. I should point out that's the most important reason for me to be involved in this. And so I think it means the patients are going to continue suffering, and it's just to keep in mind half of Gaza is children.
Craig, your thoughts? I mean, I guess at this point, we aren't surprised by this, but so while half the people on Twitter are celebrating Trump is going to announce a Palestinian state, and he's making peace deals all over the place. This has been ramped up, and so
he negotiated directly with Hamas to get the one hostage out, right? I think it's going to be another hostage maybe that they're going to get out there, but the one hostage that was an American Jersey kid is really dual citizenship. Donald Trump didn't even go with talk to Israel first. He negotiated directly with Hamas. Israel was really pissed off that he stopped bombing Yemen without even talking to them first. I mean, all this stuff is going on, but just to stick on this particular situation, every single day that goes by, 100 people in one day, 115, 120, that's a lot. When I would see 25 people killed in one day, and this is, once again, every single day, I go, wow, that's a small day. But it hasn't stopped, and it won't stop. So I don't know if you're ready to dive into the whole myth or realization of what is really actually going on between Trump and Netanyahu. Because it was leaked from Israeli newspapers and Israeli outlets. And I watch a lot of Judge Napolitano because I love his guest. He has on Larry Johnson and Ray McGovern, who I consider to be lefties, like old school lefties, not culture war lefties, but old school lefties. The other lefty, ex-spook or military man, I consider would be, what's his name? The guy who used to be on Sputnik all the time, John Kiriakou. Mm-hmm. So I really take hold of what they have to say and when they have to say it. But even a lot of these people that speak to him that have so many great things to say, they're even buying into this whole situation. So I'm going to reserve what's being said, because if we're sitting there and we're going, oh my God, Donald Trump and Netanyahu are at it, then why isn't this stopping? And when you're ready to let me go, I'm going to go into it, and I'm going to prove to you that it's nothing more than a hoax, because what we see right here with this hospital getting, lit up like a Christmas tree, we're going to continue to see that. Nothing has really systemically changed with all the new news out there. And it's all for, PR, narrative management.
Well, no, you're right. This is going to be an interesting debate, because I'll probably be trying to play devil's advocate on a couple things, but overall, we're going to agree on this. It is a psyop operation. But I'm going to say one more thing on the top censored news on this story, and then we'll move on.
And I'm glad you put this here, because I've been saying to you, right? Like, this is the stuff that's censored. Yeah. It's not on the mainstream news. This story was not even, they're not even talking. At one time they attempted, they had like an Israeli hostage little clock in the corner over there, right? Hostage is released. They're not even doing that anymore. They're just like, it's like Israel doesn't even exist in the mainstream media anymore.
Yeah. They're ramping it up. This is the part. This is the most disgusting part. I think the fact that this mark of the 77 years and no one's reporting on that part. What the general public doesn't watch our shows. They don't. They're still tuned into CNN to get the today's story. They don't even know what Nakba is. They have no idea.
No idea.
And they're too busy being told that Israel is celebrating their independence. That's not independence. When you go and massacre people, take their land, and then F with them for the next several decades over and over and over. And then use money from another country to continue propagating your war efforts and expansionism. And you never quit. You're never just satisfied with we're good. We got the thing we wanted. You have to keep doing it over and over. That's what the Nakba was 77 years ago. And the mainstream won't talk about that. So the twisted irony is here we have Trump saying we're going to, on one hand, this is going to come to an end and resolution and Palestinians will be recognized. Meanwhile, this has been ramped up right on the 77-year mark, and no one's talking about it on mainstream media. So we have to talk about this, but it is sick. It's twisted. The 100 dead in one day. This isn't, like you said, this is every day. This is just right now on this mark, and we need to acknowledge but we need to acknowledge it, get historical context so people understand that this shit didn't start on October effing 7th. And people need to know that. So this is a marker. That's number one story today for top censored news of the week.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay. You want to get into it? You want to get into it? Let me. I heard you on the talk show yesterday. You had some good points. I was excited that you were going to come on today. Craig, you were on Drive Time, saying stuff that we weren't hearing on other shows, and I like that.
Yeah,
these are the conversations we have to have. So let me load a few things here. I want you to give us your initial take on what's happening, and then we're going to try and talk some of it through with our audience.
Okay, you let me know when you're ready, and I'll go.
Okay.
Because I think it's important to talk about this, because once again, I think this is something Whitney Webb would say, right? Who just accepted my friendship on Facebook. Excuse me as I straighten out my shorts over here so I can sit comfortably, because I know I'm going to be going off on this situation. While you're doing that, let me get started, okay?
Okay, great.
As referring to, and I don't know what banner you want to put up, but as referring to the Trump versus Netanyahu, is it real, is it fake story? In other words, there's been a lot of leaked information that Donald Trump is done and he's disgusted with Netanyahu. I mean, you wouldn't see that after the way he was pulling out the chair for him on 2 different trips when he was coming on over, right? But let me start off by saying this much. And some people can't grasp it, but this is the truth. Apple, you tell me if I'm lying or if I'm lying. The ruling class will only do as much as the people let them do, right? I'll say that again. The ruling class will only do so much as what the people will let them do. In other words, they are fearful that if they go too far, there could be an uprising, right? They never want to get to that point. And everything that's happening now with the fourth industrial revolution and the Great Reset is to put themselves in a position where their power can never be challenged, right? That's what they want. They want complete track and trace. They want to get ahead of things when they can. It's a reason why there's a bastardizing of the Bolshevik Revolution, right? The Bolshevik Revolution was a class-driven revolution. Don DeBar will talk about it. It's really great. You know, where the soldiers wanted peace, and they would walk around with signs that say, "Give us peace." The farmers wanted their own land to grow food because it was owned by the monarchy, and they would never give it up. So they'd say, "Give us land." And the peasants were starving, and they would walk around with saying, "Give us food." They all came together. They all marched to the Kremlin at the time, and took out Nicholas the Tsar and threw him out. I can't remember what movie it was made, but it was an old school movie. I think it was made in the 80s, but it was an amazing scene where the Tsar was told, "Nicholas, they've taken the palace. They're here inside." And he walks outside, and it's just a bunch of peasants standing there with pitchforks, and they were dirt over their face, and they were poor, and there was a couple soldiers scattered within. But it was an amazing scene because it really kind of showed you that this was a class-fueled uprising. So with that being said, that's why they always bastardize the Bolshevik Revolution in my mind. I know you'll hear stories that it was co-opted, this and that. I don't believe so. I believe the ruling class understands that there's a small amount of them and there's a large amount of us. So they'll only do so much as we let them. Mm-hmm. With that being said, they will always have to lie. They will always have to cheat. They will always, their narrative management has a lot of, fibs and fakeness going involved with it. So now you sit and tell the situation. Now the word is, a 12-year-old could read the room. When Marjorie Taylor Greene made those statements out there, and so many people, I think on Twitter, they say, let it go. Let's see where it's at. Let's see where the people really are at. If this is really moving people, you can see people were pissed off. And I think on this show before, I brought one time some post on Truth Social from Donald Trump saying, what country is the greatest threat? And a lot of people were saying Israel. And that says a lot because Truth Social is his base. It's his people. Do you have a Truth Social account?
No.
No, neither do I. Right? Most people who have that account are diehard Trump fans. So his own base was there. So you already got a sense of it. So I think this whole time it was always, let's see how far we can push it. So now we have this whole discussion out there, and people are out there I'm not going to mention names. You know, you knew the Maha media is going to be like, okay, you know, and there was a bunch of these right wingers who were like anti-Israel that were always like, now Donald Trump has finally got it. He's not going to take crap from Israel no more.
Yeah.
He's disgusted with Netanyahu was the report out there. And like I said, being leaked from Israeli outlets out there, you know, and it was like, okay, he was upset. Israel was upset that he stopped bombing Yemen without talking to Israel first. He negotiated directly with Hamas to get this soldier, you know, release. But you have to start paying attention to policy over rhetoric, because if you had the scale and you looked at the bad policy versus the good policy, as far as if he's really putting Netanyahu on a leash, it wouldn't hold weight. The policies that will weigh you down are what Trump has done. What has Trump done since this whole feud? Has he said, that's it, I'm done with Netanyahu, I'm cutting aid to Israel? Has he cut aid to Israel, Matt?
No.
Okay.
No.
Has he taken back the bunker buster bombs that he gave Israel a couple weeks ago and stuff? Has he said, no, we're retracting them, we're taking those bombs back? No. Has he told Israel to stop bombing the people of Gaza, what they're doing right now? No. Has he told them to stop bombing Lebanon? No, they just bombed Lebanon 2 days ago. Has he told them to stop taking territory in Syria? No. Has he done any of that? But what he has done is he's allowed them to continue with their ethnic cleansing. They announced the other day, it was called Operation Gideon's Chariot. Now, to this date, we're talking over $12 billion in weapons and aid since Donald Trump has gotten in office. I haven't found out a proper analogy, but being happy with Donald Trump for doing this with Israel now is like being happy with your 16-year-old bully son who said he's no longer going to bully 10-year-olds anymore. He's only going to bully 13-year-olds. I mean, that's kind of the analogy. I don't have one yet. I'm looking for a better line. If anybody wants to help me out there, please do. But nothing's changed. Operation Gideon's Chariot is an operation in which the IDF is now, from Smotrich and Netanyahu, is going to go in there and seize territory in Gaza. Make sure it's cleared up. They'll start from the north. They'll go as far south as they can until where they hit a Hamas hold. And then that area back, they'll take that area. They're going to seize land in Gaza. And as we saw from the settlers, they're going to start taking back territory. Taking territory, right? I shouldn't say back because it was never theirs to begin with. So all this guff that's going on, nothing's changed. He's already given Israel everything they want. And like I said, the ruling class will go as far as the people allow them. They are smart enough to know they need a pause right now. So they'll take a pause. And, you know, part of that territory in Gaza will now go to Israel. They'll get a big piece of that chunk of that land that they wanted. Donald Trump did everything he could to give them that. He hasn't taken anything back away from them. But at the end of the day, they'll resume. Donald Trump, not so much Donald Trump, but the United States foreign policy apparatus, from what we saw from the video you played from the get-go, they'll always try to ethnically cleanse Gaza until they get it all. They're going to do that. They might stop for now and say, all right, let's just take the territories and the gains we got now. Let's make-believe that Donald Trump is mad at us because, you know, his base is getting mad at him. The America First base doesn't want the Israel First mentality anymore, okay? Just like Russia. They might pause right now and stuff, but I think at the end of the day, the American foreign policy apparatus will always try to balkanize and have regime change in Russia. They're not going to change, right? Donald Trump doesn't have free will, Matt. He's doing what he's told to do. And right now, this is just a kabuki theater. It's not just a kabuki theater to fool the Americans, but they also have to fool the Saudis when they're going over there like there's problems between the United States and and Israel. That helps him with negotiations in Saudi Arabia. And what's he going to do? Just sell them more weapons. It's the same old, same old. We got to look at policy over actions. This is all a crock of you know what, and nothing's changed. No bases have closed. No weapons have been retracted. They're just going to pause for a while and play make-believe, and the people of America will be okay with it because they're going to look at the rhetoric, not the policy.
Okay. Hard to argue with anything you said. However, I do want, at least from a vantage point of when this was announced, let's kind of walk it through here. So this was the thing, and you mentioned this earlier, Craig, about the leak. We'll call it a quote unquote leak, the Jerusalem Post, where it says Donald Trump is going to be, and it says to announce, so he's not announcing it, to announce U.S. recognizes Palestinian state, Gulf diplomatic source claims. Now, look, this obviously when a lot of people saw this, they were feeling hopeful. They were feeling like, oh, this is something. Well, we know how language works. It's actually nothing until it's something. So there's nothing here saying he is doing this. And like you said, what's coming out of his own mouth, what's coming out of his own pen of the things he's signing. So no actions happen. But I do want to play this, and this is very respectful people. We know Jeffrey Sachs, Judge Knapp. We know these guys. Yeah. They are having this discussion. This was a couple days ago, and their initial reaction. I think this is important just to have this conversation. I'm going to play this clip. And we understand that, like, it's going through each option and saying, well, what if this were to happen? What does that look like? So I think it's important to have this part of it. So let's hear their little exchange regarding this hopeful claim that something was going to actually happen when it hasn't.
Trump is going to call for a state of Palestine as a UN member state. That's the breakthrough.
Now, this was just released a few minutes ago, Professor Sachs, from a closed session of the Knesset Foreign Affairs and Defense Committee. You're probably familiar with their committee structure. Prime Minister Netanyahu, quote, this is stated in Hebrew, but we used AI to translate it. I think we will need to wean ourselves off American military aid, close quote. If he said that, what does that tell you, Professor Sachs?
Well, that would indicate that he recognizes that the U.S. is going to pursue a different foreign policy, not to support his wars. This would be wonderful news. It might suggest that he has the advance notice that President Trump is going to call for a state of Palestine as a UN member state. That's the breakthrough that we need above all. If it happens, and if this quote suggests that, of course, we're reading a lot into it, but if it suggests that, that is phenomenal news. It's interesting, by the way, we should understand how many foreign policy initiatives President Trump is engaged in just this moment that look positive right now. And this is astounding. First is Ukraine. I think he is maneuvering to get that war ended, and he's doing it very successfully. With the U.S.-China today, the agreement to roll back the tariffs that went to the stratosphere a few weeks ago, this is very good news. With the president intervening in the India-Pakistan battle of the last few days to bring together a ceasefire, with the president overriding Waltz, apparently, and certainly Netanyahu to say, no, we're not going to have wars with Iran. All of these are peace-seeking initiatives. It's amazing. And if it's true, President Trump will make history. It's very close. He needs to understand and really needs to see that if he says two-state solution, no nonsense, this is the real thing, all his other goals will be achievable. And that is a remarkable, remarkable fact.
So everything that Jeffrey Sachs just listed are things that we've covered, obviously, on our shows. They're all in motion. What's happening with Ukraine, what's happening with China, all these things. He's listing a list of things that are hopeful problems to be solved, where Trump could define his legacy as the greatest, whatever. That's kind of what he was suggesting there. But this one thing would have to happen. So this announcement gets made. This is their initial reaction. As we know, this is a couple days have passed. There has been nothing. You've given a very accurate depiction, Craig, of what you're seeing, which is absolutely nothing. You probably predicted this 2 days ago that nothing was going to happen. Still nothing has happened. I would be curious to hear their follow-up, both of their follow-ups to their conversation they had here. But my question to you then is, why wouldn't, if those things, if that's true, if in a hypothetical world, if Trump were to declare Palestinian state, in that hypothetical timeline, is Jeffrey Sachs correct in saying that these other things could happen and it could secure his legacy? And this would definitely, somebody with an ego like his could boost his ego to a point of, look at me, I'm the greatest president of all time. Why wouldn't he even have that on the table? Not that he could get that done, but is it something that you would see him wanting to do? So that's my question, is does that timeline exist in some weird alternate dimension?
Well, once again, I think that, with all due respect to Jeffrey Sachs, I think he's amazing. I think he's a great guy. I love where he's at, but he's also late to the party when it comes to certain things. The whole COVID situation, you know what I'm saying? So many people took so much stock in what Jeffrey had to say, and there were a lot of us who were saying the same exact thing almost 3 years previous.
Yeah.
So, with all due respect to Jeffrey Sachs, I think Jeffrey Sachs also has to take into account, because he did one of the big mistakes. He said, what if? If this does happen. I remember Rachel Maddow saying, if the Russians took control of the grid, the energy grid in the United States. So I've heard that if before, and I don't like to live in those if worlds. I want to see action. If Donald Trump was serious about his disdain or disgust for what Bibi Netanyahu in the Zionist nation were doing, he would take some serious policy actions right away, including, you're not going to get a dime, not a single dime of foreign aid from the United States anymore until you have a complete and total ceasefire right now and you withdraw your troops. That's not happening. Like I said, the operation, I have to look at it all the time, Gideon's Chariot, is a plan that was just enacted by Smotrich, in which the IDF is going to take control of Gaza. They're going into Gaza to ethnically cleanse it. So I still think that, going back to my original statement when I started this off, the ruling class will only go as far as the people allow them to. They can read the room. They understand. Even Trump fans now are saying, hey, man, this is getting out of hand with Israel. They're doing too much. Why are we Israel's bitch? Why do we have to constantly do it? Even Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying some stuff now. Like, enough is enough. They can read that room. So what I think they're going to do is just have pauses, And as we're saying this stuff, you just showed a video of what Israel's doing today as far as aid is going in, and they're snipering people. So the actions haven't changed. The plan is still going forward. Everybody is caught up once again in rhetoric, not policy. So if we really want to see some things being taken place, we want to see Trump, and I still don't get it. Like, he's given them everything they wanted, $12 billion in aid since he started, in missiles. Like we talked about, the bunker busting bombs that even Biden wouldn't even give Israel. He gave it to him. You know what I'm saying? And he's turned a naked eye to what's going on in the West Bank. And guess what? That's still going on. So every day when we see the news out of Israel, nothing's stopped. Nothing's going back. It's still moving forward. And I won't believe any of that stuff that Donald Trump says until he actually pulls the trigger on these things. And even if he did pull the trigger, like I said, it's just going to be a pause. United States will always back Israel in their ethnic cleansing project until they get rid of all the Palestinians, right? You don't see too many Native Americans running around the United States nowadays. Indians, of whatever you want to call them, it's up to you, right? I mean, George Carlin had a whole shtick about it, but they're not here anymore. We ethnically cleansed them. So they're doing the same thing over there. It's a colonization project, and the United States is 100% behind it. Like I said, you got to look, and this is something that Whitney Webb talks about, and she talks about it in her book. She talks about what's going on. Got to look at bottom baseline facts, hard facts, policy. Israel will no longer get weapons from the United States until they stop their ethnic cleansing colony project. Gaza will be recognized as a state. And if it's recognized as the state this time, it's going to be recognized as a state with about half its population than when this whole thing started after October 7th. And that's something we have to remember. So we'll just be another pause. They had it in 2014. They took a timeout. Now they did it again. So until there's some hardline, policy written, and that's the next thing you're going to see. Donald Trump is now fighting the Congress over his positions on Israel, because the Congress, which is, pretty much these people shouldn't be in the House of Representatives. They should be in the Knesset, right? Because that's where they're getting their money from and their policy from. That's going to be the next argument. But it's always cloak and dagger. It's always kind of pulling the wool over the heads. Americans need to look at policy, and that's the bottom line. And I know that's a lot of homework and that's hard, but until we do that, we'll see that all this nonsense, this fuzzy buzzy that's going in front of us is just that, to keep us back, to make us go back to okay. That's it.
Yeah. Well, this isn't going to make it any easier to challenge anything you just said, Pasta, but to add fuel to the fire, this is the a little photo op that's circling around right now. Trump standing here between two, as we would say, this Al-Qaeda leader who's now Syrian president, and he's got this handshake going on here, and these are photo ops. These obviously aren't like he actually wants to be seen. He's very excited about having this moment, but we remember this. This was the award to stop this terrorist. And who would have thought that, like, fast forward to 2025, that this guy would be shaking hands with our U.S. president. $10 million reward for that. So there's a lot of people furious about this, but I think that let's look at some of the takes here. I think that when we understand that U.S. funded Al-Qaeda, then it's not actually a big deal. But Syrian Girl says, yeah, no, Trump just shook hands with the founder of Al-Qaeda in Syria. Al-Qaeda just shook hands with Trump, who recognized the Golan as Israeli land and occupies Syria. We told you for decades, Al-Qaeda equals Al-CIA. All traitors must be brought to justice. And when she says traitors, I mean, everyone's a traitor, I guess, from everybody in a position of military power since 9/11 has been quote unquote traitor. So I don't know if it does anything different than what we've already been doing all these years, but it makes sense that obviously the thing we're funding, we're now shaking hands. And this is Richard Medhurst kind of nails it here. He says, I see nothing weird about Trump meeting with Jolani, no different from a boss meeting their employee. Al-Qaeda and ISIS are creations of the U.S. and Israel, whether indirectly or otherwise. I would bet a pretty penny that Jolani, Baghdadi, was recruited at Camp Buka. Yeah. And then Aramate's take is, and I'm going to play this clip now, and I'm going to pass it back to you, but there's suppressed news. So look below here. It says, Justin, U.S. President Trump speaking about Syria's president, and he's calling him a young, attractive, tough guy. He's literally doing this, guys. You got to see this. This is pretty insane. Okay.
He chops people's heads off. He's very tough.
Yeah. And then Aramate's saying above that, Trump jails foreign students for writing op-eds and attending protests while praising a former leader of ISIS and Al-Qaeda as a young, attractive guy with a very strong past. Let me grab the clip if you guys haven't seen it. It's very Trumpian, but man, it kind of this one stings extra hard actually when we see it. Hold on, here we go.
President. Right. I think very good. Young, attractive guy, tough guy. You know, strong pass, very strong pass fighter. Is that wordy? But he's got a real shot at pulling it together.
And meanwhile,
what did he say? I want to hear the rest of what he said.
That he's got a real shot. Well, it was on the tweet. Hold on, I grab it. He says, a real shot at holding it together. Does that sound like that's what he said? You want to hear it again? Let's hear it again.
Yeah.
President. Right. I think very good. Young, attractive guy, tough guy. You know, strong pass, very strong pass fighter. Is that wordy? But he's got a real shot at pulling it together.
He's got a strong past. That part is that's insane to say strong past. And like Aramate's nails it. Like, so he's arresting people, calling out BS, but this guy just has a strong past. Yeah, it's just infuriating. This just makes your argument that much stronger, Craig. It's hard to argue anything you said before this.
Well, the way The way the Maha media is spinning this, by the way, is really upsetting. I'm sorry, did I cut you off?
No, I forgot because I wanted to get one more in there. This is a quickie that he says about Hamas, which he's doing all at the same time. This is all happening.
I want to stay on the Syrian leader real quick, though, but then we can, all right, let's stay
go ahead.
Let's stay there because the way it's being portrayed by the MAGA media is that, this must really piss off Israel that he's talking to this guy and whatnot. Once again, it's like, and I've seen people out there, and the guy who put that up, I was on his show, and him putting up there, I'm like, these guys just know nothing about foreign policy. They're so late to the game. Once again, Israel has held more territory in Syria than they've ever held. They're like 20 kilometers away from the capital, for crying out loud. They got everything they want. This doesn't piss off Netanyahu that he went and met this head chopper. And let me just say this much. During the Trump administration, he helped, Donald Trump aided into really making the people under the presidency of what's our homeboy's name that was there for so long, Assad, suffer. Vanessa Beeley said to me, it's like, I don't think that the sanctions are the worst thing put on Syria right now, which is really hurting them. It's the Trump administration stealing their goods and then selling it off to Israel and giving it to Israel. You know what I'm saying? He helped with the situation that led to the fall of the Assad regime. And you're saying this is a tough guy, big pass, whatnot. This guy was killing Christians and Alawites on the outskirts not too long ago. You know what I'm saying? Donald Trump had a part to play in this all the time because, once again, he did exactly what Israel wanted them to do. But the people are trying to spin this as if Donald Trump going to meet this way is a way of him poking his fingers in the eye of Netanyahu. Right now, today, the Israeli Greater Project has grown under Donald Trump. They're stronger than ever. They're armed to the T. They're on their way to ethnically cleansing at least 75% of Gaza. So if the Gazans that do remain, if they have the pause right now and hold on, like I said, the population, it was started by Joe Biden and it was finished by Donald Trump. I mean, it's a continuation. This is more of the same of what's going on. But a lot of this can be pulled off because the American voter or the American citizen is so naive to what's really going on.
Yeah, they are. But more,
it is a psyop. It's a way of just hoodwinking the people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And when you hear Trump say things like this, still, like after we already have all the information about what happened on October 7th, they've admitted what they did. The IDF has admitted what they did on October 7th, using the Hannibal Directive, killing their own people, all the beheaded babe, all that stuff. Everybody knows it was BS. Everybody knows it now. If you didn't know before, okay, you were fooled, but you know now. So if you're saying it now, you're lying. Trump just wants to keep saying it. And so this, I don't know if you saw this clip. This is, again, it's just doing the thing, the propaganda for Israel, and to give Zionists more talking points to continue as they go and harass and bully and try and intimidate Palestinian protesters as the Congress tries to put laws against them protesting. So this language is infuriating. Here we go.
Safety and dignity of the Palestinian people, but that cannot happen as long as Gaza's leaders take delight in raping, torturing, and murdering innocent people. Can't have it. I greatly appreciate.
So he's still going along with the line, the same,
There's no evidence of Hamas raping and anyone in Israel. They don't rape. That's not what October 7th was. They just made it up. The only people that do the raping is the IDF, which they've admitted to. We have actual evidence of. Mm-hmm. So that he's still saying this now is definitely as same with Bernie doing his little talking points where people want to pretend that he's for humanitarian rights because he says the thing, oh, it's so horrible what's going on. He's doing a Bernie, but he just has a little more power than Bernie because he's actually sitting in the chair of the presidency. But it's the same thing, right? It's the base thinks it's he's saying the right thing. No, he's doing the talking points.
It's the babies and incubator story all over again.
Yeah, there you go. So I'll just leave it with this, Craig. Everything you're saying, I can't argue anything you're saying. It's a dark take that is most grounded in reality than anybody else. Any of the other MAGAs that think that this is a big change. Jeffrey Sachs, you're right. It was overly optimistic. Him saying that, it was all what it would be. What
Jeffrey Sachs said if.
Come on,
Jeffrey Sachs.
If. It's a hypothetical. Like I said, it's an alternate timeline that we're not living in, and we shouldn't be wasting time on that so much. However, I will leave it with one little silver lining. I do think that since October 7th, it's a little different than the pause you mentioned in 2014. There were even less people aware of what was going on in 2014. More people are aware, and I do believe that some of these mainstream outlets are kind of forced to have to change their language a little bit, and we're seeing some of that language change. I'm just going to mention them. We don't have to go through them because I know we've kind of stayed on this a while, but if you guys go check out some of these news outlets. They've slightly modified their language, just like on the Ukraine issue. You've seen some of the modification where like the Guardian, the Independent, the Economist, the Financial Times, these are media outlets where they never would have even mentioned that Israel was doing anything that we should be concerned about ever. Now they kind of have to. And I think that's important, Craig. It's something, it's a silver lining, if you would, or some would say it's breadcrumbs. But to me, those breadcrumbs are at least are worth that the public has awareness now they did not have before. And at some point they have to go, well, maybe Israel isn't the thing we thought they were, that they had no red line policy, RFK, the blank check to Netanyahu. I think we've kind of moved a little bit away from that, and that could be a small little breadcrumb silver lining. I just wanted to throw that out.
It only took the death of 70,000 freaking Palestinians, mostly women and children, to get there. But I guess, I mean, sorry, Matt. 2014, there was like I don't remember. It was like less than 10,000 people killed, I think. I'm not sure. But we're talking right now 60,000 people, and that's only the people that they buried, right? So many people are stuck under the rubble that this could be close to 200,000. I mean, like I said, Gaza is just decimated, and of course they have to recognize it because the killing is that much more, and it's really a shame. None of that is stopping today, and none of that's stopping tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to still go on.
Yeah. Okay. I appreciated the conversation on this, man. I you know what? The dark truth reality is something we need. So thanks for being totally raw and real about it, because I know that it's so easy to go into this hopeful place. Something's going to happen, but we have to keep it real. And I appreciate you doing that for us here on the Homeless Left.
They think that people think I'm doing that just to hate or own Donald Trump. That's not the case. I wish I was wrong on these situations. I really was. When I was doing all my election investigating and I was coming to conclusions that things were so wrong, I was hoping that I was wrong, right? Yeah. I really did, because, if I was wrong, that means there was some form of transparency and legitimacy into what was going on. But as I did my investigation, I found out the whole thing was just a farce. And as we do these situations right now, I really wish Donald Trump was pissed off at Netanyahu. But there would be certain actions that would really actually prove that he was pissed off and done with the Israeli state, the Zionist entity, if that were the case. It's not the case. Everything is going along as planned for the Zionist nation and their ethnic cleansing project in Gaza. And you showed it today on the day of the anniversary of the Nakba, over 100 people killed. So nothing has changed. And I think people need to call that out. They got to look at policy over rhetoric. And until they do that, they're going to continue to get duped.
Yeah. Well said. Well said, Craig. Yeah. So are you having to get out now, or you want to?
Yeah, I got to go right now.
Okay. No, dude, I appreciate you coming in and doing this. These are the most, you always say this, and you're 100% right. This is the most censored news. This is the most important news. So we have to cover it. We have to never stop talking about Palestine, never stop talking about Gaza, never stop talking about the Israel-U.S. war machine, American imperialism. It's the most important thing of our entire lives, and especially now.
It is.
Yeah,
by far. And great job by antiwar.com to do some great reporting on that, because every single day that goes on, that's just going to prove that what Donald Trump is saying is nothing more than hot air. Remember, he didn't just have to convince the American people about what was going on, that he's pissed off at Netanyahu. That also helped him with the Saudis. You know what I'm saying? So he was creating leverage all over the place. And the ruling class, they have control of the media. They're just going to control the narrative the way they want to. So they can say all these things, but until the actions follow the words, it's just hot air. And that's all it is.
Yeah. All right, Craig Pasa Jardula, thanks for being with us today. Let people know what's coming up. What do you got coming up for you? And
same old, same old. We're gonna try to do a show tomorrow. I got to talk to Fee. We'll see if we got that show going on tomorrow around 12:30 Eastern. We try to do them on Mondays and Fridays, but we have a crazy schedule. I love to do this show with you on Thursdays as much as I can. Wednesday, I do my radio show, which is one of the funnest radio shows I do. We had Jose Vega call in. Last week, we had Misty Winston call in before her show, before she kicked off her show on Rumble. So that was fun. But it's a call-in show, and it's just exciting from beginning to end. So go check it out every Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Eastern on WBAI. You can go to the Twitter, and that has a link to the actual station, and you can call in, and you can give your opinions about what's going on with the topics of the day. So thank you so much, Matt, for having me today, and I look forward to rocking and rolling with you next Thursday.
Love it. Thanks, Craig. See you next time.
See you, buddy.
All right. Craig Pasa Jardula, everybody. Go check him out. You guys should follow him on Twitter. I think I have it right here. I'm going to throw it up for you guys because he's on like the front lines of anything breaking. Him, Fiorella, these guys do such a good job on any geopolitical issue before everyone else has a chance to kind of feel it out and dive in. They've already done the diving in. So I think you can find Pasta. There's on YouTube is Pasta to Go. Twitter, Yo Pasta. There you go. And we'll have him back here, I think next Thursday. Regular co-host with us on the Homeless Left. Okay, guys. I think we're ready to move on. I want to thank everyone who's come in on all of our platforms. We do have some good engagement on our YouTube channel. Jamie, I don't know if you've gone over to if you're going to be there. Jamie, Cheese Slice is on the ones and twos today, everybody. Thank you. If you want to go check out our YouTube, I haven't been able to look at it, but I just glanced over and it's looking like we've gotten some brand new engagement there. Let's keep that going. And I'm going to definitely do that with the talking back a little later in the show. We're going to be engaging with our Rumble audience and our YouTube audience today. And if you guys didn't know, the reason why I think there's some actual engagement. This was our burner channel. We didn't have anybody that even knew about the channel because we were terminated on YouTube. We weren't allowed to exist on YouTube. We're still not allowed to exist. We're kind of like the Palestinians being put in an open air prison. And then we built a new channel, and they still don't want us to have a right to exist, but we're going to do it anyway. And it's called THL Presents. You can just the name of it is actually just THL. We cannot spell out the Homeless Left. If we spell out the Homeless Left, we will be taken down immediately. That channel is not allowed to exist on YouTube/Google, according to the Israeli forces oligarchy that controls everything and tells us that our conversations are misinformation, disinformation, and actual danger to the community. They say what we're doing is unsafe. So anyways, the reason it's getting some engagement now, the good news is one of our videos blew up in the last 3 days, 72 hours. And I think we're at like 40-something thousand views on the one video. And we've gotten a bunch of great feedback. I love the engagement because it's mostly all positive. It's like 98.5% positive engagement. A bunch of new subscribers just in the last 3 days. So we really appreciate it. Of course, this means we have to be even more careful that we don't, piss them off or they notice us, because we could be gone by the morning. But until then, let's keep doing it, and let's keep sticking it to the censorship industrial complex. So again, thank you all for being on the show with us today. Okay, let's move on to a story. This is a story that's kind of close to home. We're here in LA, as you guys know. We cover everything, whatever it is, national news, geopolitical happenings, all from the home base of HOLLYWOKE. We call it HOLLYWOKE. It's Hollywood, Los Angeles. This is where a lot of stuff goes down, and then it becomes national, international news sometimes. So we just had the Menendez brothers retrial, or it was a hearing to follow up on this imprisonment. These Menendez brothers were convicted of murdering their parents back in the crime itself took place in 1989 here in Los Angeles. And they eventually, after a bunch of waiting and courts and ins and outs and delays, they were sentenced to the life imprisonment in 1996, I believe. And from there, there's been nothing done about the case. Now, why is this case important? Well, there was more to the story than we kind of understood at the time. And I'm going to talk you guys through this. But first, here's the report about what happened here at the hearing that just happened in Van Nuys. And this could be good news for the brothers. So let's look at the first report, and then we'll talk it through, guys.
Prison for the murder of their parents. Lyle and Eric Menendez are now eligible for parole. An LA judge resentenced the brothers to 50 years to life, replacing their original life without parole sentence. The judge said he did not believe they posed unreasonable risk if released. It's a ruling which makes them immediately eligible for parole. The state's parole board will now have to find them suitable for release. That's a process that is subject to review by California Governor Gavin Newsom.
Okay, so it looks like the Menendez brothers are eligible for parole now after this hearing went down here in Van Nuys, and there were no reporters allowed to be, no filming allowed inside. So we had a team that was set up outside. We weren't able to get the footage because it was exclusive for TRT, so we weren't able to legally have the footage, but they were set up outside, had some interviews with some of the family members. And I think the main thing that went down that we were told was that there were 20 new witnesses that were being allowed to speak. That number got reduced to 7. The 7 witnesses are family members, people that have known the Menendez brothers their whole lives, and were in the original trial were not allowed to say anything on the stand. So that testimony is brand new, and the judge did allow 7 new family members to speak on behalf of the Menendez brothers. The issue that changes everything in this case is child abuse, sexual abuse, rape, all these things that were not really allowed to be discussed without massive judgment on people, especially young men. That's the difference of the dialogue that we had here in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s to now. And that's changed because the new generation is more willing to look and talk about these things and understand more how power works. And it's not just physical. Power can be a place of power, taking advantage of somebody not in power. That can be a man or a woman at any age, really. But generally, children are more susceptible to that. And women generally have been more susceptible as well. But men are too. This is something that the new generation, the TikTok generation, understands. We didn't understand that back then. That's the difference. I'll talk more about that in a second, but let's look closely at what happened here. And this is NPR's kind of breaks it down a little. The Menendez brothers are one step closer to freedom. What to know about their case. So the Menendezes, who spent more than 3 decades in prison for fatally shooting their parents in Beverly Hills, were resentenced Tuesday, one step closer to freedom. The day-long hearing, which happened on Tuesday, the judge has reduced their sentences from life in prison without parole to 50 years to life, making them eligible for parole. That was the point, to reduce it. So they're not saying they're innocent. It's saying 50 years, not life. Now you have an opportunity to get parole. So this hasn't happened yet, but they set the table for it to happen. Okay. Now the brothers, again, we'll go through the timeline here. They were found guilty in 96. The parents, Katie and Jose Menendez, very powerful Mongols, Beverly Hills. Jose Menendez was a entertainment industry, music industry mogul that had a lot of power. And of course, they were extremely wealthy. Eric was 18, Lyle was 21. So obviously they were clearly tried as adults. That was not even a question. They said it was self-defense. And then this is the part that didn't sit well with the juries and with the public, is the sexual abuse by their father, and that they actually feared for their lives. So again, if you're not understanding how that works, then you're going to assume that 2 athletic, healthy, young adults, 18 and 21, would be able to stand up to their dad and not let that happen. I think that was the narrative that kind of allowed itself to kind of come through. Another part of that narrative was that because they're coming from wealth, that's another element of privilege and we wanted to punish those people for thinking they could just get away with their privilege, which was also about the timing. This happened right after OJ's conviction. That's very important in the timeline because OJ getting off of conviction. So he was acquitted moments before their trial picked up again in 95. 96 is when the guilty verdict was found. So if you guys understand the timeline and what was going on here in LA at the time, it was a very, very emotionally charged society at the time here. We were reacting, not acting. Everybody was reacting to the previous thing. So you had the Rodney King situation where we recognized police brutality was an actual thing caught on camera for the first time. We didn't have camera phones clearly back in 1992. So 92 we had the LA riots, right? So let me talk this through for you guys. So 89 was the murder of the Menendez parents. No trial yet. They were just they were kind of, it took a while for them to get the trial started because they had to look for the murderers. The kids did well with hiding about it, that they had actually done it because they were lying about it at first and then whatever. So after that, you have the Rodney King happen. That was in 1992, where once the footage came out, people were furious. The cops went on trial. They were all let off. The city went up in flames. So there was a definite need to say there's police brutality against minorities and it needs to be solved. So the next case was OJ. So you guys see now we have to punish the system that allowed the cops to walk away from Rodney King. We're going to punish them by letting OJ off, even though everybody knew he did it because OJ's black. Turns out we got that wrong too, because OJ was elite and he was living in Brentwood, which is very close, very close. He was practically neighbors with the Menendez, who hadn't had their trial yet. The trial had been delayed because of OJ. So if you look at this timeline, OJ walks, and now the city, our city of LA, now has to have another conversation about it's not black and white. It's the rich and powerful versus the poor. So the Menendez, unfortunately, their trial came up once it finally happened, 95, 96, when the conviction happened. That was a punishment against the elite. They were part of the elite. Therefore, you can't let your elite status allow you to walk away from murder when clearly you killed your parents. And nobody wanted to talk about child abuse. Now you guys understand the timeline. Let's see if I missed anything in this article. This is part. Okay, so they bring this up. The Netflix documentary, which came out just after the series in 2024, they came out one at a time. First, there was it was a mini series that goes through the timeline of this. It's actually a pretty good series. I would actually recommend you guys watch it. I think it's better than the documentary. The documentary itself, it's okay, but this is what got us to today. The hearing that happened on Tuesday was a result not just of the documentary and the Netflix show existing. It was a result of the response. And like I said earlier, the response to this story is different with a younger crowd that wasn't alive in 1989 when the Menendez brothers killed their parents. They can respond now to the documentary, respond to what they see on Netflix, because all that stuff, it's not, look, you could say that it was a little over dramatic in the series, but in the documentary, it's pretty clear. It pretty much spells out the stuff I'm talking about. It has, now obviously not everybody's on the side with the brothers. They say that we don't care what you were, if you were abused, you have to pay for your crimes. So they definitely take all the sides and allow them to speak. But the thing is, the TikTok generation said, no, we need a retrial. We need to get these guys, they've served their time, they need to come out. We understand how child abuse works. We understand how sexual abuse works. We understand how rape works. We understand how power works. That's the missing piece. Power works in a way that 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we didn't understand. I think even though the Me Too movement went far, it started to become political. There was something to, wait a minute, when somebody holds your life in their hands as far as your well-being, your job, your living situation, your public persona, your everything, basically everything that makes you who you are. When somebody holds all those cards, you kind of have to keep your mouth shut and go along with things, because if you don't, you're going to lose those things. And so there's a thing about abuse of power that comes into play. Even if you were two rich boys, with your parents, living the life of luxury in Beverly Hills, you still have this power dynamic that eventually the kids snapped and killed their parents. I don't think anybody's denying that part, although they do think that maybe these guys had just wanted it for kicks. They wanted to do it and wanted to get the money. But they already, that's also another theory. But anyways, the point is, re-looking at this case, it looks like that the table has been set for the Menendez brothers being able to be released because of being able to make parole. And that would be something that I think a lot of people would celebrate. Now, not everybody would celebrate this. Not everybody would celebrate this. Here's some bad takes. I give them a chance to give their take, but this is what we saw after the hearing. Eric and Lyle Menendez are the best argument for capital punishment ever. Literally lying and wait and killing their parents to get their money, and now goofballs want to let them out. 100% chance someone will try the same with Nicholas Cruz when they think everyone has forgot. So, there's a lot of different takes on this. Here's another couple of them. Fisher King says the Menendez brothers, who shotgunned their parents in brutal fashion and then spent months living it up on their dime, are about to get parole because stupid white women are obsessed with true crime podcasts. But Derek Chauvin, who didn't do anything, rots in jail. That's another topic. Okay. Notorious SEB says a cool thing that is happening in America is that if you are a notorious murderer, all you need to do is get a Netflix to make a documentary about you. You'll probably get out of jail soon. Menendez brothers committed an unforgivable crime in cold blood. They're not changing their mind on that. But the sentiment outside the courtroom, that's the part that needs to be reported on. Here in LA, the sentiment looked more like this. And this is a Twitter account literally called Menendez Legacy, Fighting for Justice. These were the shots of the close family and friends, people that had been waiting years for this. It was a big moment. It was an emotional moment. It was a day, as they say in the tweet, it was a day filled with hope. After 35 years of heartbreak, the Menendez and Anderson families finally felt a spark of healing, smiling through tears, holding each other close. Their love never wavered and will stand with them until Eric and Lyle are free. And the hashtag is Justice for Eric and Lyle. I would recommend everybody check out the Netflix series and the documentary if you want the backstory to this, especially if you weren't alive back then. But I'm telling you guys, it's very important to understand the timeline. These are the elements. These are the things that are important with any story that we're quick to pass judgment. We're quick to have these strong opinions. We always need to look at historical context. I'm telling you, as somebody I've lived in LA since 2001. I wasn't actually here in the 90s and the early 80s, but I've taken time to study it. I know when I arrived here in 2001, there was still this feeling in the air about what LA went through with the LA riots of 1992. There was still something in the air about that, this unsettledness, the understanding that OJ was walking, but that was a punishment to the system that allowed the Rodney King assault members of the LAPD, which, by the way, now we know LAPD trains in Israel. So go figure. We're understanding a lot more about historical context now, aren't we? We're figuring it out. Where does all that aggressive behavior come from? You have to beat the shit out of somebody who was driving while they were high and you pulled them over. You got him, dude. Rodney King, driving while intoxicated. You got him to pull over. Why do you have to beat the shit out of him? Why do you got to do that? Well, that's the training. Okay, so we understand there was a problem. The town went up in flames because these cops got to walk. We punished the system by letting OJ walk, even though we know OJ killed him. And OJ killed Nicole and Ron in cold blood. He was a total sociopath. There's plenty of evidence of that. But you let him go because it was an FU to the system that let the cops walk. Then you lock up Menendez brothers because you have to punish the elite, because OJ turns out he wasn't part of the people. He was part of the elite. And he was the token black guy that got to parade around and pretend he was representing the minority communities in LA. So it's all about following the timeline. And now, luckily, we have a new generation on TikTok who get curious, who ask questions, who do a little digging, who do a little research. They're not just sitting back watching a show on Netflix and coming up with their opinion. The show on Netflix gets them curious. They didn't know about the Menendez brothers. Now they are curious. Guess what? Then they go to their keyboard and they start looking some shit up. We used to have to go to the public library to look stuff up. They can actually look it up right in front of their own hands on their own screen. And they do that. And they ask the right questions and they come back and they demand that this case gets looked at again, which it just did. So as far as I'm concerned, we're on the right track to obtain justice for people who deserve it. No matter where they come from, everybody needs a fair shot at justice. That's what we're about here on the Homeless Left. And again, I hope you get curious enough to look into this story yourself and come up with your mind on your own. We'll keep an eye on it. And we hope that the Menendez brothers are able to walk free sometime soon in the near future. We're rooting for them. And as they said in this post, hashtag justice for Eric and Lyle. Okay. Moving on. Man, we got some great comments from you guys. This is great. Okay. We're going to get to your guys' comments soon and talking back. But for now, I think it's time we do a little This Week in HOLLYWOKE. Let me go ahead and set this up and we'll be right back. We're going to take a little 3-minute. Go grab yourself a drink, go to the bathroom, come back. We got a lot more show for you guys. We got a This Week in HOLLYWOKE. We got a RFK Jr. in Congress disruption we got to get to. We're going to do some talking back with you guys. And we got a loudest voice of the week, a bonus loudest voice of the week for you guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few minutes. All right, here we go. It's time for This Week in HOLLYWOKE. Okay, lots going on over here in Tinseltown. We're going to take a little look at the Kanye West situation, where we know that he recently released a very controversial song called Heil Hitler. The video came out. It got banned on a bunch of different platforms, which is far different than his previous album, which did not get banned. So it seems that he's going in a direction where definitely controversial. I would like to look at, well, first of all, we're going to see some of the reactions to this, and then have a little talk about it. But this is what he's done. World's been divided over his release of his new controversial song, Heil Hitler. Let's take a look at some of the reactions right now. Here we go. Okay, so next TV reports that Kanye West has dropped the full video for his controversial song Heil Hitler. Yeah, you read that right. The track has already sparked outrage worldwide, with critics calling it a dangerous flirtation with Nazi imagery and anti-Semitic rhetoric. Ye, known for pushing boundaries and provoking scandal, has once again crossed a line that many say should never be touched. It's worth noting that Britney Spears was, back in the day, separated from her children and placed under her father's conservatorship for far less. Maybe it's time someone finally does something about Ye. The guy obviously needs professional help. Well, interesting comparison to Britney Spears. There's a few ways you can compare Britney to Ye. I wouldn't say it was in a way that this news outlet wanted to go, saying that we need to punish them, because I think that for me personally, I think that the best comparison of Britney to Ye is you got two people who have been excessively punished for being in a position that they're in, where they have their own ways of fighting back against whatever, whatever the thing around them that they don't trust or they're not vibing with, they get punished for that. So whether with Britney was taking away her rights as a human being, with Ye, it's about canceling him, and it's about making him out to be someone that it's too dangerous to listen to what he has to say. I wasn't even going to do this story because I think that, we could go down this rabbit hole of Hollywood's reaction. They can't stand the guy. They don't like it when he shows up to their events. He was outside. We know that he was outside of the Grammys earlier this year, and they didn't want him there. He showed up, made an appearance, and he took off. He didn't go into the room. We know about him going on Piers Morgan. We covered that last week, where he just goes on, he gets up, walks out. The whole point is he's saying, I'm turning the mirror on you to show you how ridiculous you are. So it's his particular approach to how he views himself being judged by the media as he's doing his art, doing his art. Now, look, you don't have to like the song, but again, we're back into this element of cancel culture, which is really about the censorship machine. And if somebody comes out with a song like this, the idea that you cancel it, it means that if you hear it, you're going to be a danger to yourself. If you hear this song, you're going to turn into anti-Semite if you listen to this thing. It's like that movie The Ring. If you watch this video in 7 days, you're going to die. It really turns the viewer into the victim of something like the kryptonite that's being provided. You're gonna be killed by this thing. We have to prevent you from hearing it, from engaging with it. But this isn't just here in this country. We know that he has fans everywhere on the planet. I thought this was interesting. This is a little shot from a club in Thailand. Watch these girls dancing to this. Okay, this is interesting. Check this out. I'll turn down the volume in case the copyright police hit us. But they're singing along, they're giggling, and they're throwing their hands up. This is exactly what the entertainment Mongols that run this town, that run HOLLYWOKE, exactly what they don't want to have happen is this. And it's interesting because what do you do about this? What do you do about this? I mean, I think it's pretty fascinating to be honest. Here's what we're gonna do. I don't need to talk about this anymore. You guys probably have strong opinions. We'll get to your comments later in the show. What I am gonna do, however, is I'm gonna play Joe Rogan's take on this because I think he hit it out of the park. And as you guys know, Joe Rogan has a pretty large audience that is going to be paying attention. And I think that even Joe Rogan knows as he's talking that he has to be careful with his words, but he has a pretty good point to make about art and about the censorship industrial complex and about what possibly is going on here on a larger scale. So let's hear it. Take it away. Joe Rogan on Kanye West's controversial song, Hail Hitler.
Speaking of the Jews, have you seen fucking Kanye's new song?
Bro.
What?
Here's the thing.
What?
My
First of all, kind of catchy.
Well, that's the problem with it. That's the problem. It's
Yeah.
like the guy from production, like he's never lost a step. He can make a beat. He can he's so talented.
He's a genius.
He's a talented producer, man. I do think it's like first of all, I think people are kind of done asking him questions because most of the shit he puts out is like self-released kind of commentary or thoughts. Because he's saying just fucking crazy,
It's the craziest thing
but
I've ever seen.
But there is a thing where that song is like, what are you doing, dude? Like, what are you doing for real?
It's the ultimate pushing back.
Yeah, I guess. But there is like I think I have a pretty, let things go kind of vibe to me. Right?
Obviously.
Yeah.
Your fucking
right?
show.
Yeah.
Your show's ridiculous.
It's a ridiculous show. And I've always been like, yeah, say whatever you're going to say. But I do think like making a catchy song about that, I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like you're just getting, at a minimum, you're just going to get more people that think it's cool to say Heil Hitler. Like that's at the minimum.
Well, I think that's part of the program.
Yeah.
I think it's part of what he's trying to do.
But I mean, is that cool to do? I guess if you're like, well, it's fun to troll the masses and get them to do that. Okay. But what I'm saying is that like at a minimum, you're going to get less educated people to go like, this is a fun thing to say. And you're like, I mean, is that good? You really want people just walking around being like, it's tight, man. Heil Hitler. Like, that's fucking insane. It's crazy.
It is crazy. But it's also kind of a sign of the times.
I guess. Yeah.
This is a chaotic world we're living in.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this kind of highlights the benefits. I mean, I want to say this like carefully because I don't want to think I want to say real clearly. I do not support people saying that. I don't think it's a good thing to say.
No.
I don't say it. I certainly don't think any racism is good. I don't think anti-Semitism is good. I don't think anti-Christianity is good. I don't think Asian hate is good. I don't think anything is good. But there's a benefit to just letting people talk. Like, let people say whatever the fuck they want to say, even if it sucks. This is the benefit of Twitter. But this is also the bad part. It's like the fucking song has so many millions of hits on Twitter. It's been banned from every platform.
Yeah.
But is it good to ban things from platforms, or is it better to let it be out there and let people talk about it? Because if you ban,
great point, and he just convinced what's his name, just sitting across from him. He just changed his mind. So I'm imagining all the people listening, also a lot of them probably just changed their mind. Good point, Joe. I see what you're saying. It's a great point. To ban something, I don't care. I mean, the ultimate example is a song called Heil Hitler. That doesn't get any more ultimate of an example. So to ban something, is that the wrong approach? We all need to ask that question. We need to be consistent with the values of free speech. So finish this up, Joe.
ban it, then people want to hear it more.
That's true.
And then it becomes more popular, and then it kind of supports what he says, which is that there's this concerted effort, if you talk about Jewish people, that they're going to remove you from everything, remove you from banking, which is what he's saying. They run everything. Mm-hmm. So if they didn't, like if it was just you were talking shit about Puerto Ricans, look what happened to Tony. Nothing.
Yeah.
He's doing great.
Yeah.
Great point. We had that. You guys remember it, the lead up to the election. The comic, his name was Tony. I'm forgetting his last name. great dude, great comedian. He was mistimed humor where he was leading in a Trump rally. He told a bad joke. Would have been great on a Comedy Central roast. Would have been perfect. Comedy Central roast make fun of different races all the time. Mistimed at a Trump rally, made a joke about Puerto Rico, and people went after him for about a week. He's good now. He's fine. He's fine. Nobody canceled him. It was just a little hiccup. He's good now. So that's what Rogan's saying is you can do that. You can have a mistimed joke or a mistimed, it's all art. By the way, whether you are a lyricist of any sort, a musician, whether you're a comic, whether you're a filmmaker, it's all art. And you can have something to say that a lot of people don't agree with. You could have something to say that could be funny in a certain context, taken into a different medium, the wrong time, might not go over well. Comedians know this the best. They know that sometimes it's a mistimed joke. You don't get the room on your side and you get booed off. The same joke will go over completely different in a different environment at a different time. So we know all this. But the ultimate point Joe's making is that it's different. It might be different for the people who quote unquote control the world, control our industries. There might be a different, more hardcore form of punishment that is unique when you're going after that type of person for whatever it is. It's a more unique form of punishment that we don't see anywhere else.
You know what I mean? Like if there's certain people that you're allowed to pick on and make jokes about or mock or say something, and you can get away with it.
Yeah. Well, I think he's made his point. I think we all get it now.
It's never going to end.
Yeah.
But how does it end? This is the question. When I was watching that song, first of all, I was by myself. When I first saw the song, I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, no way.
Yeah. No.
It's like, no way. No way. And I'm watching it on my phone. I'm like, yo. And then my first thought was, how does this end? Because this ends. This is going to end. There's going to come a time where they're going to realize, like, this is a problem.
Yeah.
So how does it end? Does it end in assassination? Does it end in
There's definitely people that want to kill him.
financial ruin?
Yeah. I don't know what his financial situation is. I know that, like, there's been all these, over the last 5 years, there's been times where.
So we'll stop it there. These are great questions. I love that Joe Rogan's asking these questions. These are questions we should be asking. We should keep an eye on this. See what's his next move going to be, because you know he's pissed off people. People in power have been pissed the hell off, and I think that was his intention. But let's just one more thought on this about the knee-jerk reaction for people to say, "Get that away from me. If I hear it, it's going to hurt me. If you hear it, it's going to hurt you." When we think about our education system and we think about how we were educated about World War II and how we were taught about Adolf Hitler, I think back to the teachings and I think, it's interesting that we never did get to hear the why beyond he was evil. He was the most evil human being ever to live. How did Germany all of a sudden, just for about a period of less than a decade, decide to become the worst people that have ever lived in the entire history of human existence, and just woke up with this feeling of hate and wanted to kill, particularly Jews, but they hated everyone that wasn't Aryan, just for about less than a decade. And then they went back to not doing that. And that's the way we kind of were taught our history, that evil just kind of appeared and then it went away. And it was not just any evil, it was the worst evil that the world has ever seen up till then. And more importantly, the worst evil the world will ever see from here on out. That's what we were taught. It would have been nice to get one of Hitler's speeches, translated and look at it and say, well, what caused people to get excited? You just saw those Thai girls doing this earlier. Now look, that's just, you can have fun at a club and that look on their faces, oh, this is risque, we're gonna do it anyway, we're gonna do the thing. But the idea is that it's getting people to go, Why is it so bad? Why, when I play this song, when I dance to this song, if I sing the lyrics of this song, why is it so bad? What is the thing that you're trying to keep from us? These are great questions. And I appreciate Joe Rogan asking the right questions, saying the right things. This is what it's about. And this is what I think the younger generation is about. And this is why it's hard to know where this is going to end. How far is this going to go? But regardless of what happens to Kanye, regardless what happens to our rights moving forward, all the anti-Semitism bills going through the House right now, all the arrests of American citizens, not just Visa card holders and green card holders, but American citizens, the arrests for speaking out are going to continue, and where this is going to end, where this genocide is going to end, probably down to the last Palestinian, if that's the direction it seems we're still going in. But regardless of what happens, we always have to be for free speech. And I think that's the point Joe Rogan was making. And that's the point we want to make to you guys, that no matter what, that is a principle that we can hold on to no matter what happens. And that is this week in HOLLYWOKE. Okay. Oh, wait, is it okay? No, it's all right. That's what it is. Okay, guys, you have, man, we got a lot of good stuff here in the comments. I think we're going to do one more story, and then we're going to get to the comments. So I'm hoping, Jamie, I wrote you a message about if you were able to do the talking back with us today. I don't think Leslie's going to make it here in time. She just sent me a message, but we're going to do the RFK story. And then we'll do some talking back if you're able to do that. It's all good. Okay. I think we're set up here. Give me 1 second. Welcome, guys. If you're just getting to us now, if you're just joining us now, welcome. We got a lot of show left. So you got here just in time. You can always go back and watch the replay on Rumble. We always leave our lives up on our Rumble show. This is our 105th episode, I think. 105th. Damn. 105th episode. All of the episodes are available on Rumble if you want to go back. 2 years worth of content. But the segments, that's the most important part. We do like to get the segments up on our channel and our new YouTube channel. Our brand new burner channel is up. And it's nice to have that one moving. And we welcome anybody who's just discovered us on YouTube, because maybe a video you guys clicked on. You might have clicked on a Gal Gadot video of her getting protested, and you found us. So we're glad you guys found us. That video just randomly blew up. I think it's at like 45,000 views now, which is pretty wild because we just started the channel like less than 4 months ago. We started this channel. Pretty phenomenal. Pretty phenomenal. Okay, I think we're all set up here for the next segment. Okay. Let me grab this real quick. We are good to go. We are good to go. Okay. Wait, where did that one thing go? Sorry, guys. Hold on. 1 second here. 1 second. We're getting it. This one, we got to do this story because this one was on the flyer, and so we got to at least cover all the ones on the flyer. Okay. This is the one. It's RFK. We're going to do the RFK disruption. There's actually a lot to unpack here, guys. Okay. Let's go ahead and I'll throw that one up. Okay. This is a good one, guys. If you guys are just tuning in now, this is a good one. Okay. We're covering the Maha movement here on the Homeless Left. And today we got to look at RFK Jr.'s recent appearance in Congress. He's talking about the approach to health and what we're going to do about our kids. And he put on a phenomenal performance. And if Craig Pasta was here with us, he would say, oh, it's totally a performance. But we liked a lot of the stuff he was saying. I'm going to play a clip here. This is where he calls out the people in office that claim to be about our kids' health, but never do anything. And he's been able to do a bunch of stuff, at least as far as what he mentions. And we talk about getting the dyes out of the what's banned in all of Europe. Apparently, we've been able to have this this poison dye in all of our foods and cereals, and it just disgusting crap that's added it in for no other reason but to hurt our health and hurt our kids' health. He's managed to get restrictions on that already, and he's calling out the people in office that talk about doing this but never do it, and he did it in the first 100 days. So let's hear this clip, and then we're going to get to the disruption after that. Here we go.
He thinks that we did gold standard medicine in this country from these institutions. Look at our children. They're the sickest children in the world. Laura, you say that excuse me, Congressman DeLauro, you say that you've worked for 20 years on getting food dye out. Give me credit. I got it out in 100 days. I'll give you that credit. All right, so let's work together and do something that we all believe in, which is have healthy kids in our country, for God's sake.
Ms.
All
Dean.
do that together. It's not, there's no such thing as Republican children or Democratic children. There's just kids, and we should all be concerned with them.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Ms. Dean.
Mr. Secretary.
So you see the room he's sitting in. This is, he's got to go to this. This is like the tribunal where he checks in and tells them what he's done. And that's a good thing. And there's a lot of talking. You guys know we've been covering the Maha movement. We've been noticing, and the small little pros. This is one of the little pros. This is we talk about breadcrumbs being thrown. This is one of the breadcrumbs, and it's worth being noted. The thing that won't be done, we haven't been seeing done, is anything to do with getting the mRNA vaccine technology out of the schedule for kids, the schedule for adults. Just getting this stuff out is not happening. And the reason that's not happening, you guys know, is because Trump has already done a deal with Ellison and the STAR technology that's going to combine AI and mRNA technology. It's going to be the greatest. It's going to be the best. It's going to be the greatest mRNA ever. That's what we're up against. So we know that's not happening. So that's what we've been critical of. We've also been critical of the fact that the people that have been promoted at have been appointed at some of these jobs have been as we say, the nominations. We just saw the Means siblings, Casey and Callie. We talked about that. You guys can go back. We've done an extensive coverage on them and how their focus isn't on the thing that a lot of people voted for Trump for. They voted for getting the vaccine out of our schedule, period. Specifically, the mRNA technology that's been put into this COVID vaccine. That's what a lot of people voted for, and that's not happening. Another problem, which you guys know we've been on the forefront of, exactly right on point from the beginning. The first time RFK Jr. said, when RFK Jr. said that the Palestinian people were the most pampered people on the planet, we said that's not cool. When he said that Netanyahu deserves a blank check and no red line policy on October 8th, the day after October 7th, we said that's not cool. When he became the HHS director and he posted on the HHS Twitter account and website, not his own Twitter and own website, on the HHS Twitter and HHS website, he posted the number one health problem in this country is anti-Semitism. I kid you not. This is the thing that we are angry about. Those two issues. And those two issues are not being reported by mainstream. The mainstream is still trying to pretend that RFK is some crazy nut job that is trying to hurt our health. No, he's not trying to hurt our health. The people handling him are trying to prevent him from doing anything. So the thing he's able to do with these little breadcrumbs. So rightfully so, he told those pieces of S in that room that he actually got a few things done in the first 100 days, where they haven't done anything. The Bernie Sanders crew hasn't done anything. They talk about taking on Big Pharma, but all they do is protect it. So we got the breadcrumbs. Now, there were protesters there. Here's where now we're getting into the disruption. Let's talk this through, guys. You're always going to have protesters show up with RFK Jr. because you have different kinds. You have a bunch of them. You got the ones of the people we just talked about, people that are there to protest on behalf of the Palestinian people and say, you can't be pushing policy through HHS about anti-Semitism when we're funding a genocide in real time. Those people are showing up to protest, as well as people that want the mRNA taken off the shelves, taken off of our vaccine schedule. Those people are protesting. They're not getting noticed, though. The people that are protesting on behalf of mainstream are the people coming in there with signs saying RFK Jr. is crazy. He's got a worm in his head. He's trying to destroy our kids' lives by getting rid of vaccines. So those are the people the media likes to focus on. Okay, so there's kind of three types of protesters. So you're always going to get protesters at RFK Jr. Public appearances. You're always going to have them because you literally have three types that show up. We're for two of those three. The other one we're completely against, and you guys know that no, you don't. He doesn't want to hurt our kids with looking into vaccines. He actually wants to look into vaccines, but there's a lot of pushback. So he's really not going to be able to do that. That's actually the real problem. So let's look at the disruption, and then we're going to look at different interpretations of what actually happened. Here we go. This is the disruption. It was Ben Cohen, co-founder of Ben and Jerry's Ice Cream, who got arrested at this event. Here we go.
Permitted while the committee conducts its business. Capitol Police are asked to remove the individuals from the hearing room.
Move down the hallway.
Ben, why are you getting arrested?
Move down the hallway. If you stop, you will be arrested.
Poor kids in Gaza by buying bombs and pays for it by kicking kids off Medicaid in the U.S.
Keep going down. Keep going down the hallway.
Ben, how many days have they been starving in Gaza?
What has it been? 75 days by now. Stop.
Anthony, I need my shoe.
Our program.
Okay, now let's go. Down into the hall right now. Let's go. Everybody. I'm saying, everybody. Stop business. Pick it up. Stop business. Pick it up.
Ben, what are you calling for the Congress and senators to do for Gaza?
Congress and the senators need to ease the siege. They need to let food into Gaza. They need to let food into starving kids.
What did you say in there, man?
I said that Congress is paying to bomb poor kids in Gaza and paying for it by kicking poor kids off Medicaid in the U.S.
Don't let them any closer. Back. Stop. Everybody. Stop. Everybody stop. Right.
Everything that Ben Cohen just said while he's being arrested, if you have a problem with it, you really need to look into the mirror. He nailed it. That's exactly what needed to be said. And he did it. And bravo to Ben Cohen for doing that and disrupting not just RFK and the Health and Human Services department, but Congress was there themselves. He was disrupting the entire room because everybody in that room is guilty of stopping food from going to Gaza. They're all guilty of it. None of them speak out about it. None of them push back. They all allow it to happen and pretend it's not. And there is some irony into being in a room where we're talking about our kids' health and we're talking about effing with Medicare and Medi-Cal, all these different health plans that we are not allowing our kids to get because we're broke, because the medicine industrial complex is broke here, at least for the people to be able to afford healthcare. We're broke. We can't do it. You know who can do it? Israel can do it. Israel can effing do it because Israel has free healthcare. It comes from our money that we give them every single day. So Ben Cohen didn't accidentally choose the wrong time to come in and do this. He did it at the right time when we're talking about our kids' health. And the kids in Gaza right now starving to death because of aid that isn't allowed to get in, that we're trying to get in, and it's getting blown up or it's almost getting to them, and then we blow up the kids themselves as they're trying to eat because they're starving to death. This is cruel. This is torturous. This is absolutely, these are the most sickest, twisted war crimes imaginable that you could do to people, and we're doing it. We're not just watching from afar. We are actively doing it. So here's where it gets a little frustrating, to say the least. Unfortunately, there were others who looked at this situation, and I will give them a little benefit of the doubt. Alex Jones is one of them. He got this wrong. He got this so wrong. I want to believe it was because he was hasty and didn't look close enough, and it was an honest mistake. I want to believe that, but again, why would you would take the tweet down? This tweet, it might be taken down now, but I grabbed this about 3 hours ago. So if he took this down since then, bravo to him. But he's wrong. about this. Alex Jones video. Ben & Jerry's co-founder Ben Cohen has a meltdown on Health Secretary RFK before being thrown out of the hearing. If he is concerned about America's health, he should look no further than Ben & Jerry's ice cream. A pint of Ben & Jerry's milk and cookies ice cream has 1,130 calories, 97 grams of sugar, 117 grams of carbs, and 67 grams of total fat. Ben & Jerry's is angry that poison food additives are being removed from the U.S. food supply by HHS Secretary Kennedy. Did you hear anything in that arrest from Ben Cohen's mouth? Did you hear anything that suggested he was there because he was angry that Kennedy was taking food additives out of our food supply? No, I didn't hear that. But because Alex Jones put this up, a lot of his followers are going to believe that. Now, he didn't attach the video that I just played you. He attached this video. Now, this is when you're listening to it, it's almost the same, but it's not. He doesn't do the one in the hallway where he's like, hey, what did you say in there? That's not in the video. So Alex Jones played a video that didn't involve Ben Cohen speaking loud enough where we could hear what he was effing saying. So again, if Alex Jones just got the wrong clip and didn't hear it and just assumed because it's Ben & Jerry's and their food he's right. It's bad. Ben & Jerry's ice cream is very, very bad for you. That's the irony here, that you have a guy that is trying to do the right thing for children who are starving to death in Gaza, happens to own a food company that's not food, but it's crap. It's total crap. Sugar and fat, it's crap. The sugar is probably the worst. 97 grams of sugar. That's worse than the calories. That's worse than the fat. The sugar. 97 grams of sugar. He's right. But did he look close enough? I don't know. You guys be the judge. This is the video that was attached to Alex Jones' post. The problem with Ben Cohen is that and listen, I'm going to play this in a second. He made the fatal mistake of a disruptor. And Jose Vega will tell you what is the famous mistake that a first timer makes. The most obvious thing that you don't know if you've never done this before, if you've never disrupted, Jose Vega is the master disruptor. And he will tell you, he's been on our show a few times and he's told us, don't forget to mic yourself. Don't forget to mic yourself right at your chest. Someone's going to film you. Don't worry about that. Mic yourself. Get the sound. This is the video Alex Jones played, and it's very confusing because if you don't know, you think he's protesting that his ice cream is going to have shit removed from it, and he's furious about it. Check it out.
Permitted while the committee conducts its business. Capitol Police are asked to remove the individuals from the hearing room.
Move down the hallway.
Ben, why are you getting arrested?
Move down the hallway.
Oh, wait. This part was on. It was tagged. I didn't know he tagged the same one at the end. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. You know what? My bad. This was the original. Okay. Sorry, guys. Let me cue this up again. I want to make sure I get this right. Again, I'm just trying to leave the window open just because we want to give benefit of the doubt. I really do. I really want to believe that Alex Jones didn't know what was actually happening. This is the actual video. Never mind the last one. We'll fix it in post. Here we go. This is the actual clip that Alex Jones posted of the same incident. It might give the wrong message. Here we go.
As a reminder, disruptions will not be permitted while the committee conducts its business. Capitol Police are asked to remove the individuals from the hearing room. That was a made for C-SPAN moment. The secretary will resume.
That's the budget.
I'm on the fence. If you listen closely, you can hear him say Gaza. And I don't know how you can miss that. If you're posting to such a large audience like Alex Jones is doing, I don't know how you can miss it. You guys want to hear again? The one thing you hear him say is Gaza. But again, Ben Cohen makes the fatal mistake of not miking himself because he could add the sound to anybody who posts this stuff. And then we could hear what he's saying, not just in the hallway, because again, Alex did not post what was in the hallway. I want to believe that he didn't know that that was available. He wants to pretend, or he wants to jump to conclusions and think, oh, that ice cream guy is there to have, because he has a problem with RFK Jr. effing with his ice cream. That's clearly not why he's there. But does he know? I don't know if Alex Jones knows. But look, one more time, if you listen, you can hear the word Gaza.
The audience are reminded disruptions will not be permitted while the committee conducts its business. Capitol Police are asked to remove.
There it is, Gaza. That's it. I'm done speculating about this. If he still has that tweet up, F that. Because look, there's people reacting. There's people reacting that don't pay attention. This sucks. Look, friend of the show, Mindy Robinson. They're big mad that they might actually have to make food with real ingredients and non-addictive chemicals. Well, she's asking, at least she asked a question at the end. Is that what's going on? So Mindy's scrolling. She's scrolling. You know why it's important? Mindy Robinson is no, she's a libertarian. She's been on the show several times. I think she voted for Trump the first time. She did not the second time. Just to be clear, she did not this last time. 100% for Palestine. I want to give that shout out to Mindy. 100% for Palestine. She's against the genocide. But here's what happens when Mindy sees Alex Jones post. She doesn't follow up on it. She assumes Alex got it right, and then she's asking him. Yeah, I guess they're mad about that they have to change the ice cream at Jen and Jerry's, huh? Question mark. No, that's not what it is. So Alex Jones misrepresented what happened, and now you got people saying, yeah, F that guy. F that Ben and Jerry's guy trying to go after RFK. No, he's fighting for the people that are starving, the kids that are starving to death in Gaza that we're allowing to starve, that we are paying for their starvation. That's what's going on. And then this guy, Tom Wren, says this must have been a PR stunt. Again, this is him evaluating it based on what Alex Jones gave him. So his evaluation is it must be a PR stunt. No one on this planet could be so obtuse to think that was reasonable. The guy who literally makes one of the least healthiest foods on the planet shows up for a hearing on health to make a scene on national TV about the fact that he doesn't want to take dangerous chemicals out of his already terrible, unhealthy food. No, that's not what happened. But notice how both of them put a question mark at the end of their tweets, because they are not sure either. They're going off of Alex Jones. They're trusting Alex Jones, that Alex Jones got it right. He got this wrong. I hope he corrects it. But this is wrong. This is not what's going on. And if you are, like, I know Mindy personally is for Palestine. So she knows that's exactly why he was there, was for, not because he was mad about the ice cream. Then we would have a better way we can report on this if we consider ourselves independent journalists. We consider ourselves people with influence. We got to get this right. We got to look closer. Take the extra minute, look a little closer before you go and tweet this shit out to people. Just look a little closer. But it was not misplaced to be at that hearing. That's the one to protest. This is what I was mentioning before. You guys got to look at this. This is important. This brings it all back to the HHS. It brings it all back to that Congress room and why it needed to be disrupted. And if only Ben Cohen had a mic to his chest, we could hear the actual protest. This is what we need to know. This is what it's about. USA gives Israel more than $10 million every day. Israel has free healthcare and free college, but the USA doesn't because the USA can't afford it. That's why you interrupt the HHS congressional meeting, RFK Jr. Thanks for getting the red dye out of our foods. That's good. And I hope those commercials aren't being played on TV anymore for pharma, like every other effing country on the planet, except New Zealand. I hope you can do that too. So if you can throw those couple breadcrumbs at us, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Okay. I'm going to piggyback on this story because we do have a hopeful news about this just came in. So you know what? This might qualify. Yeah, this might qualify as breaking news. I'm setting this up. We got this is a Maha breaking news that just came in. I'm gonna do this one right now. We're gonna throw this one in. Let's go ahead and play the top part. Okay, here we go. We have some breaking news in Maha. There's been a new head of Maha reportedly has been assigned, who lays a bare radical plan to transform U.S. health and ban COVID shots. Let's look at this story right now. This is the news that just broke from Maha Action. We are honored to announce that Dr. Asim Malhotra has joined Maha as our chief medical advisor. Dr. Malhotra is an NHS trained consultant cardiologist and an internationally renowned authority in the prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of heart disease. And then this is from Mail Online Health. The new head of Maha is laying out this radical plan to transform U.S. health and ban COVID shots. Okay, so that sounds good. That sounds really good because none of these other guys, and you see this is him being pictured with RFK Jr. on the left side. He's standing there with Dr. Jay Bhattacharya on the right side. So this is somebody who's talking about banning COVID shots. So none of the other ones are doing that. The Mean siblings are not doing that. RFK Jr. certainly isn't doing it. We've seen Dr. Jay Bhattacharya is not doing it. They have other concerns, right, about our health that doesn't involve banning the shots. What they've been talking about this whole time is we need to look into it. We need to get the research, the data. That's what they've been saying. That's why we're not saying let's get the COVID shots off the shelves. They're saying let's look into it, and that's a stalling tactic we've seen on the show. Does that mean that this new head of Maha is going to do anything different? Well, it's hard to say. Let's look at the Maha Action video that was posted with that tweet. And you guys tell me if you think that Maha Action is talking about the same thing that we just saw in the Daily Mail front pager. You tell yourself, ask yourself if in this video there's any mention of getting the COVID vax off the shelves.
Asim Malhotra is a British National Health Service trained consultant cardiologist, co-founder of Action on Sugar, and former honorary council member at Stanford University School.
In medical school to think in these ways about informed consent, about understanding the data properly. People need to understand that good health in general doesn't come out of a medicine bottle. So we're at that tipping point very soon, Del, but we can't be complacent. We, the people, can change it, and we must and we will.
Okay, so if Craig Pasta was here with us right now, he would tell you this is a whole lot of nothing. He has the job now. He's not going to do anything with the COVID shots. He's done. I might be willing to just accept that defeat because we see it time and time again. We'll look into it and we'll get back to you. That's been the mantra of Maha this whole time. However, this tweet he put out himself today. Let's look at the tweet and then see if this makes any difference, that this actually came from his account. This didn't come from other Maha supporters who are saying he's going to ban the COVID shots. Dr. Malhotra is going to ban the COVID shots. He tweeted out himself. So does this change anything for you? Breaking. new head of MAHA revealed as he lays bare radical plan to transform U.S. health and ban COVID shots. It's what you've been waiting for. There is overwhelming evidence to call for a moratorium on the mRNA COVID jabs and help the vaccine injured. Let it rip. Pound fire. Moratorium. Okay. It's coming from his account. I don't know if that changes anything. I don't know. And this also needs to be mentioned. How much power do you have as the head of MAHA? What does that even mean? It's a chief position, chief officer of medicine of MAHA. What is that? Is that just a made up title? I don't know. But this just broke. I know again that this is we're divided. There's the reason this episode we're calling it this, it's divide and conquer, is that you take a movement like the MAHA movement and you keep effing with the people with the baiting and the switching, constant baiting and switching. You're going to divide people. Half the people are seeing this news right now and they're going, this is what we've been waiting for. This is what we've been waiting for. Other half is saying, this ain't shit. This ain't nothing. This ain't nothing. It's just another made up position. It's a feel good moment. What's actually going to happen with these shots? Are they ever going to be banned? Hard to say that they will be when Trump is signing multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar deals with Ellison and the AI mRNA technology star systems. Why would you be doing that and then wanting to get rid of the same thing at the same time? Doesn't make sense. So, breaking news. Okay, half of MAHA is celebrating right now, and maybe it's a nice little feel good moment, but we'll see what happens. But at least he's posting on his Twitter account about banning the COVID shots. At least it's being said, because the Means siblings, RFK Jr., they ain't saying it at all. They ain't saying it at all. Okay. That's it for the MAHA updates, RFK stuff. I think we're ready to do a little talking back. Hey, Jamie, give me a little thumbs up. Are you down to do this with me today? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Jamie Cheese Slice has been on the ones and twos for us the whole way. Appreciate it, my friend. Keeping us on point. And what we're gonna do now is let me cue this up. We're gonna do I still haven't made a new intro. It's Leslie's intro. She wanted to be here today. She will definitely be here with us next week. Lots going on in the medical arena here in LA that she's needing to attend to. She'll probably have some stories to tell us next week. So you guys be here next week for Leslie's return. For now, we're going to go ahead and cue this up. It's going to be talking back with Cheese Slice. That's what we'll call it. Talking back with Cheese Slice. I'm getting it queued up right now. And you guys get your comments ready. We're going to go through. There's a bunch of them, so we're going to have to maybe be a little selective today. But I trust Cheese Slice. He's going to choose some good ones, and we'll talk them through. Okay, here we go, guys. It's time for Talking Back with Cheese Slice. Here we go.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Jamie,
good
how's
show
it going?
today. I'm doing good. It's been a good show. It's funny because like I work with pasta, and you start the show with pasta, and then you're going to end the show with me. So just for people who don't know.
No,
yeah.
it's a nice little book ending. Great teamwork today for sure.
Yeah, and we got some new people watching today, and they said they found you on Garland show.
Oh,
so
great.
That's good. And somebody else found you. I don't know if they found you on Garland, but they just said they just found you, and they're very excited to be here. I'll throw that one up on the screen now since I'm talking about it. So here you go. Pam ZZ1 just found you. Great content. Thank you. So welcome. I hope you enjoyed the show today. And then Zootzillo is the other one. Well, anyway, I don't know if I marked that content. But he's had Zootzilla had a lot of comments today that I'm going to highlight today. So they found you on Garland's show, and I think I've seen them in Garland's chat before as well.
But before we get to the comments, I want to just say up front that the surge we're seeing is because we've been pushing back on the censorship industrial complex specifically on YouTube, starting the new burner channel. It's been hard to get it off the ground. It's only existed for 4 months. It's called THL, and you can find it at THL Presents. I suspect
it's one word too, just THL Presents, no space.
That's if you type it in with the @, it'll come up. THL.
Right. If you put the space in there, you're not going to find it.
Yeah. So copy this, guys. This is it. This is actually what you type in. It'll go right to the channel. Do you think you could bring? Could we before we? I really want to do this. Can you go to the homepage real quick on the
I can
YouTube,
do that.
And then we'll get on to the comments. This is important because this is a milestone for us. We had a video that we did on Gal Gadot, and it blew the hell up. It might be close. I don't know where it's at now because it's been going. So scroll down to the just under the live one. So now, yeah, we've doubled our followers in just overnight practically because we had less than 1,000. Click on.
Was it a live stream that blew up, or was it a
You go to popular.
video?
You got to hit the popular. It's a hit popular. So first one. No, you. There we go. The first one. So check that. Check out the views on that one. You can pause that and then look at
43K.
So this is where we're getting people from. And it's more than just the views, because if 43,000 people watch something, they can go on and just move on. What we noticed about this particular video is the likes on it, the engagement on our end. You know, you guys can't see the dislikes, but we can. And we have a 98.7% like rate on this. And the comments are unbelievably supportive for Free Palestine. Unbelievably. If you guys go, we're at over 1,000 comments now. So it's showing with hands down that the support of people on YouTube is there. It's been there the whole time. And the reason they've wanted to cancel us is because they didn't want us to discover this type of engagement. So if you guys are somebody out there who are watching us live right now or on the replay, whatever, you're watching us right now and you found us through this video, I'm so glad you found us through this video. Stay part of our mission. We're here twice a week. We're doing the show. This is one of many stories we cover. But of course, if there's a disruption, we're there. It's part of what we do, challenging power. And Gal Gadot needed to be called out. And man, did people respond to this. So we welcome you guys all here now. If this is the means it took to get you here, we thank you so much. And we're glad you found us. If it was through this video or any other way, thank you and welcome.
And 43K is a lot for a suppressed channel like THL Presents, because it is suppressed. Like you can't find it just by searching for it and being close. You have to be know exactly what you're looking for when you're searching for it on YouTube, or you're not going to find it. And the fact that this kind of broke out and you got 43K is actually kind of a big deal, because it's just this kind of content. YouTube is they might be allowing it on the platform, but it's that freedom of speech, but not freedom of reach thing. And that's definitely going on here. But yeah, it's kind of exciting to get like this much traction on a video.
Yeah, and several new subscribers in the last 48 hours. And the thing about it is, on top of the suppression, Jamie, we just started this. We call it our burner channel, because our last one, again, it got terminated. We don't exist. Homeless Left got terminated. We got told we're not allowed to be on YouTube. We started this channel in mid-January. It is now mid-May. This has only been in existence for 4 months, and we got this to happen. So it's a big celebration moment, if anything, and we hope there's more to come. But what better video to just randomly blow up than this one? Because this is what it's about. It's the disruption. It's the challenging of power. It's calling things out. It's people having the courage, the people on the ground having courage, and we cover it on the show. And that's why we gave them Loudest Voice of the Week last week. And here we are. Here we are.
Well, that's pretty good. It's pretty. This is your first breakout video. I'm sure you'll get a few more.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Hopefully they go bigger than this next time.
Yeah, it's a good start. It's a good start. All right, let's move on to the comments. Sorry, I had to get that in there.
No, I understand. All right, let's just start from the top. This is from Zootzilla, who is new to your show today. I don't see any hate on the Jewish people, just the one that is associated with Zionism. I think he's talking about the hate that you do see is for Zionists, not for Jews. No one's born a Zionist. You know, a Zionist is an ideology you have to adopt and decide whether or not it's okay, and then agree to it as you mature as an adult, or you're indoctrinated into it as a child. But no one's born a Zionist. Like, you're born a Jew. It's not okay to hate people for something they're born as, right? But if you come to a conclusion and you have an ideology, you chose that ideology, then it's okay to criticize people for that.
Well,
and I think that is what the majority of these protests are about, is criticizing the people's having adopted Zionism.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll go even further and say, if by whatever reason you were tricked into it throughout your adolescence, your childhood, your schooling, and you didn't really know that you were indoctrinated as a Zionist, and then it hit you, oh shit, I'm a Zionist. You can choose to not be one. Then that's what you wake up every morning and you make the choice to be that thing. So we'll even give you a free pass and say, hey, it wasn't your fault when you were younger, you were stupid. But now you, like everybody else, we all have the ability to wake up in the morning. We all wake up in the morning. Most of us do, not children in Gaza. They don't wake up in the morning. The rest of us wake up in the morning, and we can decide what mindset we want to have. It's a choice, like Jamie said. So yeah, you choose to be a Zionist, and that's what the protests are against. That's what the hate is against.
And a lot of people wasn't it something like 80 to 90% of Jewish people in America were Zionists before October 7th, and now it's down to like 60 to 70%. A lot of people have learned what Zionism actually is since October 7th and said, you know what, I'm not on board with that like I thought I was.
Yeah.
There's like different levels of Zionism too, like the people who think it's okay for Jewish people to have a Jewish state, and they support that, but they don't support what Israel is doing now. That's still they're still Zionists, but it's like a lesser form of Zionism.
Yeah.
So there's different stages of it too. And it's difficult because it's still an overwhelming number of people in this country are Zionists, and like most of the Zionists in this country are Christians, by the way. So it's not, I've always thought of it as a Christian ideology first and foremost. It's just that in Israel, it's just a high concentration of Jewish Zionists. They just happen to be in that country, but worldwide, it's mostly Christians.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, thanks for the comment. And Zuzilla, we're going to feature several more. Okay. You did a lot on the anti-Semitism today, so we're going to go to Miss Rachel. So this was a joke from CEB Applejack 59. Said Miss Rachel looks anti-Semitic. Definitely a sarcastic comment. They said so in another comment, but I just wanted to highlight that because it's just amazing. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, where they've just decided that anti-Semitism means people who don't like seeing kids getting killed by Israel. So maybe she is anti-Semitic by the new definition of it.
Yeah.
And maybe then maybe we shouldn't be ashamed by being called that if the definition is we're against seeing people being slaughtered. So
it's a ridiculous word altogether. So
yeah.
I appreciate the humor here, because it's like from Applejack, because it's ridiculous that you would even call yourself Semitic when you're not, when the Palestinians are. So you didn't just steal their land, you stole their terminology too. And you use it. It's like you're doing everything it's so ridiculous that why not? Let's embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll steal it too. You want to label us that? Then we'll redefine what it means too, because you already redefined it.
Yeah,
So
because the most insane thing about this is our Palestinians are also a Semitic people. And if you're standing up for the Palestinians, you are by definition pro-Semitic. And then if you're being called anti-Semitic, well, I mean, what they really mean is anti-Jew, but what the people who are protesting really are anti-Zionist. They're not even anti-Jew.
Yeah.
So like it's not right to hate people for what they are, but I think it's perfectly right to criticize people for what they believe, like we stated earlier.
The ridiculous notion that if it was another entity, another, I don't want to say country, but another military occupation, another apartheid that was doing this to another people, that we just all stay home and not care. But like as if you scrolling down your phone, you're seeing babies' arms being blown off and mothers crying and hospitals getting blown to bits and schools being blown to bits. You're the first thought is, well, wait a minute, who's doing that? And you have to check first to see if it's Jews doing it. Oh, now I'm mad. But if they said, oh no, it's it's somebody else, it's Japan doing it, or it's whatever, it's France doing it. Oh, we'll carry on. So the insinuation that we're only upset because it's Jews doing it is,
I'd be upset if it was anybody doing it. Like that's the absurdness of it. It's absurd. It should not be happening. I'm upset that the American government did it to the Native Americans in the 19th century.
Yeah.
But I wasn't alive to do anything about it back then. And it happened 100 years before I was born. But it's still, I'm deeply, deeply ashamed of that part of our history. So it's a stain on our record. Anyway, but this was this is gallows humor and like the sarcasm there. I appreciate it. I like dark humor. But thank you for the comment. Another one from Applejack. As a Harlem guy, we don't claim Diddy. He from Mount Vernon, and that's the Bronx.
Very good. Thanks, Applejack.
Nobody wants to claim Diddy anymore. Did you know Call of Duty, there's like a taunt that the kids are now calling Diddying, and Call of Duty is having to ban it. But in this sweeping of banning that, they're also banning teabagging, which has been a classic move going back from the early days of Halo. And now they're saying teabagging is going to be a bannable offense as well. I'm upset about the teabagging thing, not so much upset about the Diddying thing, because the Diddying thing is associated with what it's associated with.
Oh, word police. We love the word police.
It's censorship all across the board. So I'm just against it on the basis of censorship.
Yeah, of course. We have to be. That's the point. Did you get the memo? Can't say this now. Can't say that. This implies this. That implies. Oh, come on. All right.
Yeah, but nobody wants to claim Diddy. I don't
wants to claim Diddy. Okay. Thank you.
Diddy's giving a bad name to baby oil. All right, next comment. Oh, Jesus, this is feel good Israel independence genocide zombie celebration. The cheesy backing track. Oh, God, I want to puke. Thank you for Bunny Ripley for that. This was from when you were playing the opening video.
This was the opening.
Everybody was congratulating Israel on their independence. My question is, independence from what?
Well, this is.
You could say it's their birthday when the country was established, but there was no independent.
Yeah, I think we did.
They are independent, but they were just founded to be independent. There was no.
It's so weird. There's
no one to be independent from.
I feel like there's more stealing going on here. So that the fact that in our education system, the Western world, we have our story, right? It's a good story that we had to get out of British rule and break off on our own. And we had a little issue with the Native Americans. That oopsie. But we had a Thanksgiving dinner and all's well. We all shared the table together, Pilgrims and Indians all together. Blah, blah. But the independence story works in our regard because it's this idea that we broke off of something,
right,
and started our own. So, but Israel's the opposite. They didn't break off it. They were set there by the British government. It was purchased and set. It was the opposite. And so then you have the raping and pillaging and murdering and stealing, and then you're still doing it now. Like now, it's like it's insane. And then you're gonna call yourself Independence Day. I think they're stealing our story, and we're going along with it because it sounds good, and we're used to that language. We go, 4th of July independence. Oh, it's Israel's independence. So they know they can convince us that it sounds good when really it's the exact opposite. And we're talking about Nakba. That's the thing we should be
the Nakba
celebrating.
It's horrific.
It's absolutely horrific, and we should be be shouting about it, which we have been doing today on today's show, primarily specifically today, as you saw in the #1 story on the Top Censored News. Go back and watch that if you guys missed it. That was our Top Censored News we did with Craig Pasta earlier.
Israel was established because of the atrocity that was committed against Jewish people in the Holocaust by Germany. So then they move a lot of Jewish people to Palestine, and then the Palestinians, for some reason, have to pay for the crimes of the Nazis.
Yeah,
that's why. Why do they have to pay for the crimes of somebody else?
Because God told them that. I don't know, because it's in this, because it was written, Jamie, because it was written.
Yeah, I don't buy that excuse at all. But that's the one that we're given, and we got to go along with it. So, all right, thank you for the comment. Next one from Which to Go. Godot's filming in the UK was disrupted again today, apparently.
Oh boy. Well, we're gonna have to do another follow-up on that one. I love it. We've done 2, so we had covered 2 of them already. So this is according to Wish to Go, this would be a 3rd disruption. Yeah, hell yeah, we'll look into that and we'll cover. Yeah, we'll keep on.
I knew she was in the IDF, but I didn't know where she stood when it was with regard to like October 7th in Palestine. But apparently she's very Zionist.
Well, if you watch our 43,000 viewed video, Jamie, you'll see that.
Well, I'm speaking before I know now, but I'm saying before the Snow White thing came out, I wasn't sure where she stood on it.
Yeah,
because I mean, there are people who do serve in the IDF and then they get out and realize, oh my God, what was I a part of? So I didn't know where she was.
Oh no, she's exactly where her handlers need her to be, and that is anti-Semitism is the worst thing imaginable, and that's so the way she got into Hollywood was her Zionist handlers, that she checked boxes.
Well, let's be clear. I want to be clear in that statement you just made. I think we agree that being anti-Semitic in the sense of being anti-Jewish is a terrible thing. Like that's not okay. It's not okay to be anti-Jewish.
I don't think we don't have that. That's not a problem. That's not a thing.
I don't think it is the problem they're making it out to be, but they're associating all these things together with what anti-Semitism is supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's the way they're weaponizing it against people to shut people up when they want to criticize the actions of a nation.
Look, the reason I know that there is no anti-Semitism is not a problem is because I've had a Jewish name my whole life, and it's done nothing but help me. And if you want to talk about different people that have been different groups of people that have had hard lives, you can hear directly from their mouths of what it was like to be the thing they were and the struggles they faced with any sort of racism or sexism, or we know that story. So I can tell you firsthand, being here and moving to LA and Hollywood 2001, it's done nothing. Having a Jewish last name not only has, and it's just so you guys know, it's fake. I'm not. My mom just made up the name. I didn't know any better. I don't even think she did. She was just being, I think you would say, just retaliating against her family. I want to change my name. She just picked a random. It wasn't even, it had nothing to do with Judaism or anything. I just happened to have it. It was a fun, unique name. My mom thought it'd be great. Me and my brother have it. It's Weinglass. It's done nothing.
Mom just likes wine. That's all it is.
Oh no, I think the story goes she was drinking wine, watching. She was in San Francisco. There was a famous lawyer named Leonard Weinglass who actually did some civil rights cases. He actually was part of the Chicago 7 team. He was one of the second lawyers on that team, and then he did a bunch of stuff. He did some Black Panther stuff. He actually fought against the CIA. He did a lot of stuff. My mom, I don't think she even knew what an activist lawyer the guy was. Saw him on TV, Leonard Weinglass. She's drinking wine. She goes, I like that name. I'm going to change it. That's it. So you guys now, you know my backstory, and I'm not going to change it from that. I like to just go with the name I was given at birth and just see what goes. I'm only now realizing, oh shit, there's people that use the Jewish identity.
They associate you.
I'm a victim. I didn't even realize that was happening. In fact, the only thing I know when I look back on just being in LA for the last 25 years, I can tell you it's only opened doors for me. It's only gotten me into rooms that probably would not even have gotten me into. Yeah. And I kind of knew it at the time. I was like, that's interesting. I'm getting these meetings.
And you never bothered to correct people.
I never bothered. No. Well, they didn't said anything to me. No one ever said, hey, Mazel Tov. If they would, but I'd just be, yeah, whatever. I don't pretend
Right.
Any of that. So I never misrepresented. I'm just letting you know that doors open or not, I can guarantee, I can vouch 100% that there was never a struggle. It was never something I was like, uh-oh, why am I being persecuted? Am I being, no, am I being marginalized?
I think it's blown out of proportion for sure. But that doesn't mean there are some people who just have an irrational hatred of Jews. But I think it's not a rampant problem.
No,
I mean they do exist though. And I mean, I've heard like stories from
that's funny. I've heard stories. That's funny. That's funny because like,
like personal stories from friends. I mean, he didn't have any, dog in the fight in terms of for political reasons. Where like it's just like, we were minding our own business in college, and then people would leave notes on our doors and stuff like that. It's not okay that kind of stuff happens. So there are people who really are very much rabidly anti-Jewish people, but I don't think that I don't feel like that is a rampant problem throughout society. Not at least in America. It's not.
It's not. We have to hear stories about it. That's the thing. Like we have to hear the stupid after October 7th. We had to hear the stupidest shit came out of Hollywood. I remember hearing. I'm just giving a random example. I think John Lovitz. Oh, poor John Lovitz, who went from B-lister to D-lister. Is saying, I feel like I need to speak out because Iron Man 2, I was called to play a role, and then they called me and said that Gary Shandling's getting the role instead, and I was supposed to be in that scene with Robert Downey Jr. and then Gary Shandling, and you know what they told me? They told me there's not enough room for people like you. We only have one role for people like you, and what they meant was Jewish. I'm like, dude, that's how casting works. You're gonna tell me that the black role or the woman role, there was only one black role and the other guy got shut the F up. Gary Shandling was better than you at the audition, and he got the effing role. And you chose October 8th or 9th or 10th or whenever that video came out to say, I'm gonna admit something now. I'm a victim of he literally says I'm a victim of anti-Semitism.
I didn't
Hollywood.
see that.
In
Hollywood.
Idiot.
Hollywood.
I'm sorry. How dare you? How dare you? That I just remembered that. Like, this is the kind of garbage that comes out of this town. Garbage, total garbage.
But some people, like, they seem legitimately scared that there's like a real tangible threat going out in the streets, that people are trying to like go after Jewish people. It's just not happening. But the news reports it like it is. And it's just like, because they're saying they're claiming that these protesters on college campuses are anti-Semitic, when like 20% of like most of these protests are Jewish people, and they're not protesting Jews.
That part
they don't hate Jews. They hate Zionism.
Yeah.
It's the propaganda is so intense, and if there's anything that America is really truly great at and the best at in the world, it's propaganda.
Yeah. All right, let's get to a few more of these.
All right. So exactly, Trump is tied to the hip with Israel. This is from Zootzilla. Now this, I kind of have a little bit of a different take from Pasta on this. So he was saying that, there is no real evidence that he's got an issue with Netanyahu. He's always supporting Israel and doing all that. My take is this: Trump does not care at all about the Palestinians. We knew that before he was going to get elected.
Yeah.
And he's a very transactional person. And he has a lot of business dealings and transactions with many different Israelis, not just Netanyahu. So I think it's very possible that Trump is having a somewhat of a falling out with Netanyahu, and he doesn't like Netanyahu, and that maybe he doesn't want to work with Netanyahu, but that doesn't mean it's going to change his relationship with Israel, because Netanyahu is not Israel.
So that's the part. That's a great point, Jamie. And we actually discussed this briefly on Tuesday with Jay Scott was co-hosting, and we had so much to get through today. And I wish, now that you bring this up, I wish I would have brought this up with Craig, because it's important to see that and you could call it breadcrumbs, you can call it just a little silver lining, but this could be a real breakup. It really could. Not with Israel, but with Netanyahu. Does it change the fact that children are still getting murdered? No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
But
he's still going to back
if
Israel.
Trump is saying you can't infiltrate my team, which he did. We
Mm-hmm.
know that the whole the signal chat was infiltrated. We know this for a fact, and we know that Trump has an ego for a fact, enough where if he's being made to look like someone else's little bitch, he's going to do something about it. I think that part is worth mentioning. Absolutely. So
I also think there's a lot of people, especially in the Republican Party, they don't like this Israel first look that the administration has.
Yeah.
And there's probably, I bet there's a lot of Congress people who are taking the APEC money who hate it too, but they know they have to take that money or else they're not going to be a congressperson. So they're just taking the money, shutting up, being corrupted, and going along with it. And I bet a lot of them would love to throw off this yoke of Israel, but they don't know how to do it.
I don't know how to do it. Yeah.
And so they just got to grin and bear it and go along with it. But the thing with Trump specifically, he still took that money from the Adelson money. So even if he has a breakup with Netanyahu, he's still on the hook for making the Adelsons happy. So it's not going to change the way he interacts with Israel, but I do think Netanyahu might make the dealings go a little bit more rocky than they were before. And then there's also this other theory I have where when you've got an adversary and you know you can't beat them, like they've kind of got you by the balls, right? Yeah. Well, maybe you just give them everything they're asking for and more, right? So you give them more than they can handle. But so like one of the examples of this is Trump went to war with Yemen, or tried to go to attack Yemen on behalf of Israel. And Yemen arguably came close to sinking an aircraft carrier. And that was probably enough for Trump. And he's like, okay, we're out. We're done. We're not fighting Yemen anymore. And now he can go to Israel, say, hey, we did everything you asked. We did this. We almost lost an aircraft carrier. We're not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
And then that creates some political space for him to operate a little bit more independently and maybe try to get the upper hand on Israel, because Israel's definitely been taking the lead for the last 2 years almost. And I think he wants to get that back. And I do think Trump probably wants to get away. He wants to be America first and kind of throw off this Israeli first look that his administration has right now, which is going to be difficult because his administration's filled with Zionists, just like Joe Biden's was, by the way.
Yeah.
But I do think that kind of annoys him because it's not part of his America First brand.
Yeah.
So, I mean, having an issue with Netanyahu does not mean he's got an issue with Israel at large.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you throw out Netanyahu and bring in another face of the operation, it might just be business as usual, and that might be a step back. Actually, if you look at
it might actually be smoother sailing, which is sad.
Yeah, because then everybody's convinced that it's the bad apple syndrome again. This is the one that works very well on us as a whole.
But I do think that Yemen thing kind of opened the door to have a little bit of space, because Israel's been pushing us to go to war with Iran, and now because the Yemen thing kind of blew up a bit, he can pull back and say, hey, we did this for you and it didn't work out. And now he's able to push back on them to make them hold off with pushing for more war with Iran. So maybe that's the kind of thing that's happening, where it's just opening the door for having a little bit more room to work by giving them everything they want. Yeah. But it's bad. But it's bad for the Palestinians, no matter how you look at it.
All right. Hey, let's
move on. Let's
try and plow through a few of these because All
right. We're a little bit almost half. We're over halfway through. United States government are complicit in genocide. Yes, I agree. They're using our tax dollars, our bombs, to commit a genocide, and we're all complicit, even if we're opposed to it. And it's embarrassing and shameful.
Yeah.
So we got to carry that.
I think this is another new user, the new user, new
Soprano Meze.
Yes. Welcome. Appreciate you.
All right. Next comment.
Applejack
again. Americans don't have the balls to revolt. They're too comfortable. Trump gave us the perfect out with the tariffs, and not a soul took the opportunity. Fee was with me. Tell people not to vote. And, you know, I'm inclined to agree with Fiorella, but I do think you should vote. Just never vote for Republicans or Democrats.
I'm going to lean towards you. I do appreciate the sentiment. You know, another person that shares that that side of with Fee and with Applejack is Wyatt Reed. He was on just a few weeks with us, and he's also bowed out. He said, "This is where your voice can be the loudest, is to protest the whole thing." I appreciate that sentiment. I think there's nothing wrong with that. At the same time, I'm going to lean with you more, Jamie, and say third party is also a way to express yourself and stick it to the two-party system. I think either way can be effective. Can you imagine if half of the country decided to do one of these two things? You'd have like 25% more.
Well, half the country already does decide to not vote.
Right. But if I'm saying,
that doesn't
okay, let's say this. Of the voting class right now, like if you take the total people who voted, and let's say 3.5 years from now, you take that total number and you change 50% of them out. A quarter says I'm out, so now we have a 25% drop from actually voting, and then another quarter goes all third party. Both of those would be phenomenal, and they can happen at the same time. So I don't think one. So I guess I'm making that point because I'm saying one doesn't take away from the other. What Applejack's saying, Fee, Wyatt Reed, they can do that, and you and I can do what we're doing, and they're both effective at the same time. They don't take away from each other. That's
well. I haven't voted for president since 2012.
Okay.
Because I did lesser of two evil voting when I voted for Mitt Romney. I almost threw up in my car because I couldn't stand Mitt Romney, and I said I'm never doing that ever again. So I have not voted for president since then, and I don't recommend lesser of two evil voting at all.
No.
But if you're going to vote third party, just don't vote Republican or Democrat because you're voting to continue the problem.
Yeah.
And I don't care how good they sound. AOC sounded great in 2018 when she ran. She fooled a lot of people. She fooled Glenn Greenwald.
Yeah.
And then she got into office, and then it didn't take long for her to get corrupted. I was really shocked how quickly she got corrupted.
Like 2 days.
It's a little bit longer than that. It was a little bit longer than that, but it was less than a year.
Whatever.
Less than a year.
A week? It was a week. Okay. Well, we'll call it a week. We'll call it a week. Okay.
Now she had a few good moments. A few.
Yeah.
But
she had a few good.
They started getting less and less and less. Anyway,
a few good mama bear moments. A few good tax the rich hashtag dresses. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Another one from Soprano Mezzo. West Bank is being annexed. Yes, it is. Unfortunately, I don't think this is going to end well for the Palestinian people. It's only going to stop in one of two ways. Either Israel's going to complete their mission, which is the total eradication of the Palestinians, or someone's going to step in and force Israel to stop.
Yeah.
That's the only way this ends. And I don't know. I don't think anybody's willing to step in and make it stop. The only ones doing anything are the Houthis in Yemen. So they're probably the most moral people in the world.
The bravest, and they're coming from the hardest place of all, the poorest.
Yep.
People.
They don't have much, and they're sacrificing everything they got. Stand up for it. So
we should take a lesson from those guys for sure.
All right. The next one, the big picture is to get the Sunni army and the West to form an army in Syria for Iran. So Zuzil is saying that's the goal for why we took over Syria, or why we destabilized Syria. And it was a lot of it is all is about going after Iran, because Iran's the big holdout, right? The seven countries in 5 years, and Iran was the big prize at the end, the final boss.
So they got to still got to get the final boss. Still haven't defeated it.
Yeah.
Final boss.
Yeah. I mean, who's the bad guys when you hear this plan, this idea? Who's the bad guys in this situation? Let's just leave it on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, I regret not asking the follow-up question when I realized 9/11 was total BS. I realized that I think around 2000. It took me a few years. 2005, I realized this is BS. But I was 4 years late to it. But it never occurred to me to ask, because what Wesley Clark told us, like he said, the seven countries in 5 years. the order was given from upstairs. Okay, who gave that order? It never occurred to me to go beyond the realm of the project of a new American Century group. It never occurred to me to go further than the Dick Cheneys and the Wolfowitz and the Rumsfeld sitting in that room saying, how can we speed up, get the manufactured consent for war? We need a new Pearl Harbor. We want to get Halliburton some massive dough, and Iraq this and that. It never occurred to me that we were doing someone else's thing, like, for them. And so it was like, oh, I thought it was just Dick Cheney wanted to make some money on Halliburton. And I thought that was the end of it. No, it's much, much bigger. And you know what, Jamie? I want to say this. I'm having these discussions now, and to me, it feels like we're going further down the rabbit hole than we ever did. Me personally, I didn't know the rabbit hole went further back in 2005 when I first realized this. We're going further down the rabbit hole, yet it seems that there's people, friends, family, people that are more willing to have the discussion now when they think it might be a foreign entity than they were to say, how could you believe that George Bush and Dick Cheney would do this to the... So they're more willing to have the conversation now when they go, who put them up to who dancing Israelis? They go, oh, that's weird. Oh, that's weird what Netanyahu was saying and telling us that we have to go stop Iraq, stop Iran, stop Syria. That's weird. So they're more willing to look at it. I think that's interesting. Have you noticed that it's like that if you
there's a lot more people now that are questioning 9/11 than there was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
That's definitely for sure. Like, even it's taken me a long time to kind of come around on it. I'm like, I mean, I've always stuck to the idea is, we probably knew about it and let it happen because they wanted to kickstart new military action around the world. They were looking for a reason to go to Iraq before 9/11. I knew that because I was working in military industrial complex, and everybody knew they wanted to go back to Iraq and finish the job. So as soon as that happened, I'm like, everyone in my office was like, well, we're going, that's it. That's what they're going to use to go back to Iraq. It didn't matter about the WMDs. We knew that's what was going to happen because they were talking about it for months and months and months. Well, actually for years, but I was only there for maybe 9-10 months at the time. But everybody wanted to go back to Iraq and finish the job. So it didn't matter if they had anything to do with it or not. We knew that's what they were going to use it for. But the question was who really did it. And, everybody in my office believed it really was Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan. So we were thinking that's the good war, right? That's the one we really need to be focused on. But we knew the Iraq war was BS. But so anyway, there's a lot more people questioning it now. I'm even questioning it now and thinking there's more to it. Although one of the things about Building 7, everybody says, how did that building fall when, it wasn't hit by a plane? Well, the building was hit by debris from World Trade Center 1 and 2 falling. And it took a lot of damage from that. It did. Because
that's their official account, is that the building fell due to debris that shot across.
Well, I mean, no. So we've seen that famous video where it's falling and just falls in its footprint. Well, there are pictures from the other side of the building where you can see the damage, and it's like something like slashed down the side of the building. Now, I don't know if that was enough to do what it did, but that's not taken account in the model. So the guy who modeled it in Alaska, they didn't account for that damage in the model, and I'd like to see what would happen in the model if they put that in.
Are you leaving the door open that it was a natural?
No, there's still questions. There's still questions, though. There's still massive questions of why the building came down. The thing that makes me still go, okay, it's probably still a sabotage, because they were reporting that the building had collapsed like 20 minutes before it actually fell down.
Yeah, that's
is super duper suspicious.
It's more than suspicious. That's it. It's not. There's no more. It clearly was on the to-do list. The emailing talking points, or back then it might have been faxed. It was faxed to the UK news outlets, and they were set off in the spot, and they didn't check the background. And
I know. I mean, you got the person reporting
that was faxed to them earlier a few hours ago. By the way, let's not forget. And we do have to move on this, but let's not forget that now we have social media. We can look back and do time code. We couldn't do this at the time, but it's 100% fact that from the second on the live stream of the second building being hit, the second, so neither building has fallen yet. This is very early in the day. From the second that the second building was hit, when it was officially started to be talked about that this is on purpose, because remember the first one, it could have been an accident. So the news across the globe is saying we have a problem, we have a second building. If you start the timer on the clock from the moment the second building hits and you count 46 seconds, that's how long it takes for them all to have gotten the memo or the fax or whatever, the email, the memo, the fax, to report on who did this. Osama bin Laden. They told us 46 seconds after the second plane hit.
Yeah,
tower.
yeah.
That's all you need to know.
And then
Our coordinated operation.
in 2001,
coordinated
we
psychological operation.
we couldn't communicate as quickly as we can today in 2001. It was still, we could still do a lot of stuff, but we were still using fax machines back then.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah,
the memo was given.
but
Report
the
on
video,
that.
but that video from the BBC where they've got the reporter standing there saying Building 7 has fallen while Building 7 is still standing in the background right behind the reporter reporting it. That's nuts. And that wasn't a green screen.
Do you know? And let's move on here. But do you know? Leslie just told me this last night. Netflix is releasing an Osama bin Laden docuseries. I
wonder if they're going to include his letter, the one that they took off.
They're going to do the hunting of Osama bin Laden. This feel good CIA checkboxed story, probably funded or aligned with Obama. Obama has a Netflix deal, so I'm assuming this is one of his projects because he got that little.
Because Obama got him, right? I mean, never mind the fact that Bush had people.
Yeah,
we had soldiers under Bush who had Osama bin Laden in their sights, and Bush didn't give the order to go after him.
Yeah,
because they needed the excuse to keep pushing the war. Yeah, and we knew that like 2008, 2007, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, the public at large didn't know that, but those of us in the military industrial complex knew.
Absolutely. All right, let's get a few more of these and
all right, a couple
more.
more. It's always fun to talk about 9/11, isn't it?
That's a fun one.
IDF
killed the memories.
Well, speaking of false flags, because I'm false flag for Iraq was the babies in incubators. Well, here's a case where the IDF killed babies in incubators for real. We've seen the live streaming of it. They kill babies in incubators by cutting off power and shooting doctors. And if they're destroying hospitals, yeah, we're the ones who do this stuff, and it's almost like projection. We blame the countries we want to go to war with for the stuff that we actually do, and then say they're the ones doing it. We got to stop them.
Yeah, and we know the drill. They don't show us the footage because it's too horrific. We have it right here. What Hamas did. Oh, the babies in ovens, severed heads.
Yeah.
Oh, well, can we see it? No,
we can't show you the evidence. If they actually had evidence of it happening, they would show it on the news 24/7 for an entire week.
Yeah, and then
it actually was happening.
Yeah, and then we have this actual footage that we see every single day, and that's like it's not. Oh, you guys are just I don't know how they ignore it. It's like we will show you. It's right here. And like so it's just it's total projectionism and displacement and all the Freudian things you want to call it as far as psychological up stuff you can do. The old switcheroo as it is.
It reminds me of when when we saw all those cars that were destroyed after October 7th, and then they had to go bury them all. It's like, oh no, it's like it's a Jewish tradition we have to bury the dead. They just hid all the evidence, because if you actually sent teams in there to inspect those cars, they would have found out there's no way Hamas could have done that.
I don't know why they had to do the burial, Jamie. I think that they could have left them out and then investigated themselves. And
if it was Hamas that had done that, they would have surely left that out and let everybody come in and look and say, look what they did. Here's the evidence of it, and take that to the bank and report that to the whole world.
Yeah. Oh,
But they buried it because Hamas didn't destroy all those cars.
But then they admitted that they conducted the Hannibal Directive. That
Yeah,
was
they admitted it was them
So that
later.
includes
Which
the
that
torching
blew
of
my
cars.
mind. They
That
actually admitted
includes
it.
the torching of 300 cars or how many was it? Was it
I
300?
don't know, but I mean, it was just the entire highway.
Yeah,
and it was probably the Apache helicopters that went through and just took them all out.
Unbelievable. Okay, let's do two more and then we gotta wrap it up.
So we shouldn't go. The Menendez brothers should be released. I think we kind of agree with that from the sentiment of the way you covered the story. But yes, we agree with that. I want to get to this one because this was highlighted on Rumble from Sherry Wise. Trump is all over the Middle East now. What else is he up to right now? Is he trying to find a new home for the Palestinians? What kind of deal is he working on? I think he might be paying lip service to finding a new home for the Palestinians. Or maybe if he can move him, I think he might actually prefer to move him than have him get killed because it's just a bad look. But I don't think there is any solution. Nobody's going to, there already are Palestinian refugees settlements in all these surrounding countries, and the other countries, they don't want any more of them. Yeah. And by taking the Palestinians as refugees just justifies the Israeli genocide. So he might be trying to work on it, but it's not a thing he's going to be able to pull off. And I don't know what kind of peace deals he's working on. But there is a possibility. Hey, let's just stop what we're doing now. Take the win for where you got it, put it on pause, and then you can find an excuse to pick it back up and continue doing this in a few years. They're not going to stop until the Palestinians are gone. Or they're just so insignificant there's no force to push back. That's just the way it is, and it's really sad for the Palestinian people.
Yeah,
and I don't think Trump is going to do anything about it. He's going to back Israel. It's just, if he is doing anything, he's just trying to do PR. All right.
Thank you, Sherry Wise, and thanks for contributing today. She's regular on our show.
Thank you so much. And okay, we'll do this last one from Jungle Jer. Perhaps we will get more than breadcrumbs. Maybe we'll get a slice of bread. I can't remember exactly which. I think he's talking. He put this up when you were talking about the new head of Maha.
So breadcrumbs has been a kind of a running theme through today because we were talking about breadcrumbs with Craig Pasta. At the end, I was trying to give some silver lining of hope that the media has been forced to change their language when it comes to the genocide just slightly. In this regard, I use breadcrumbs again. You're right. It was during the Maha when we did break the news of the new head of Maha. And the breadcrumbs could be, I remember the breadcrumbs was a reference to RFK Jr. saying we got the dye, we're getting the dyes, the red 40 dye out of our food, and he's working on getting the pharma commercials off our TVs. Those are breadcrumbs that could add up to one slice of bread. Yes, I agree, Jungle Jerry. You could, in theory, add all the breadcrumbs together that RFK Jr. is working on and say, here you go. Here's one piece of bread. It's the more than anybody before me has done. So enjoy. It's like Oliver in the music. Oliver, please, sir, can I have some more? It's like, you want some more? No, you just get your little one bowl and that's it. You don't get more. You get your one bowl of porridge. Thank you, Jungle Jer, for the analogy of the one slice of bread.
Thank you so much. All right. Oh, well, I checked the comments. A lot of people disagree with my takes on the 9/11 stuff.
Well, because you're leaving a door open that it's already closed, man. But I again, you got to.
Well, see, I disagree. I think it still is a lot of speculation. I can't say any of it with any certainty, but I agree.
There's speculation of who made the most money off of put options. Speculation on.
Well, no, not that. But I'm just saying who actually. Obviously, people knew it was going to happen, but there's speculations of who did it and who pulled it off. So.
I have the answer.
I can't say with certainty at all what happened.
I can tell you. Here's your clue. It starts with the letter I and it rhymes with Shmizrael.
Well, I mean, there certainly is a lot of evidence that points in that direction, but I can't.
Okay.
I can't go with it on 100% certainty. It's strong. I mean, if I were to go with it and say yes, that was the case, that was what was the cause, it would be circumstantial. So, yeah, I'm not writing it off. I'm not saying it's not a possibility. I'm just saying.
Well, luckily we got Trump in there with his team of crackhead, what is it, crackpot, whatever you call it. They're on it and they're working on it tirelessly.
No,
they're going around
they don't care about,
and they're going to get to the bottom of it, and we'll find out soon because they're on it. They
don't care about that at all.
Okay, all right, let's. Yeah, let's. That was obviously sarcastic. Okay. Jamie, thanks for doing the talking back with us today. I appreciate it, and
all right,
we'll play out some comments at the end. I'm going to do one more thing here.
All right. Well, thank you guys, and it was fun. Thanks for having me on, and we'll do this again sometime.
Awesome. Thanks, Jesus. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Ooh. Oh, we both did it at the same time. Okay, there we go. Jamie Cheese Slice from the ones and twos, coming on the other side of the camera and helping us with the talking back. We much appreciate it. Thank you so much. We've got one more story for you guys before we sign off. So appreciate all the engagement today. You guys have been awesome. I think you guys are going to really enjoy this one because this is a human opportunity for us. This is a human opportunity. Tuesday's show with Jay Scott, we did end up doing a loudest voice of the week. I generally don't have it, set up here or there. It has to be a Tuesday or Thursday, but I don't really like doing it more than once a week. These segments, we spread them out. Sometimes we don't do them at all. We spread them out though. This came up on our feed, so I had to do a follow-up. So this is a bonus loudest voice of the week for you guys because this one is so important. It couldn't wait. It had to be done today. So let's go ahead and intro this segment. And this one's a good one. This one's a good one. Okay, here we go. It's time for loudest voice of the week. This is our bonus edition this week. So one of the hardest things for us as independent journalists and, people that I guess we consider it our duty to investigate, to share, to do commentary, to look into things, to push back. That's our main job, is to push back. But we got to get the information. And a lot of times when we're talking about the genocide in Gaza, a lot of times we get overwhelmed with so much footage coming out of there. So many horrible, horrible things that Israel's doing. So many things not being reported. It gets overwhelming. And a lot of times, we'll be asked by naysayers. We get attacked personally. I get attacked on my own Facebook feed. They don't know about the show. They don't watch our show for sure. They don't watch this, even though I got it streaming right now on my private Facebook page. It's funny because if they see it, they are kind of forced to see it for a few seconds. They like to ask, give me one example. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you guys an example of one of the most horrible things you could possibly imagine an IDF soldier could do when they stream. They stream from Gaza. They stream to their followers. We've seen some horrible stuff. I'm going to play you this. And then after that, when you're angry like me, when you're effing furious that they're getting away with this and no one's reporting on it, then I'm going to show you a pushback. And this is just one of many, many, many. But I think it's important to start this segment with something that really pisses us off. And then we're going to get to the loudest voice of the week. Here is some Israeli soldiers who are posting themselves on their social media having a barbecue in the ruins of Rafah. And their friends back home and followers are just delighted, and they're gloating. And the gloating is over the Palestinians who are starving to death right in front of them, and they're having a barbecue. one of so many. This was one of so many. And it's a reminder that our media is against us. Our politicians are against us. Our Bernies and AOCs and Rachel Maddows, and the list is long of people that pretend they're reporting facts and being honest. They're against us and they won't talk about this. So where does that leave us? That leaves us, we have to be the ones with the voices. We have to be the ones to speak out, and we have to put ourselves on the line to do it, as we've seen a lot of college students do. And they're not quitting, even with all the punishments, all the arrests, all the they've been expelled from their campuses. And then you have a valedictorian, and this is the time of year where school years are ending and graduations are happening. And in this case, I'm going to play for you guys a student at NYU. His name is Logan Rozos. And he's giving a speech at his graduation where he denounces Israel's genocide in Gaza. And the applause he gets is unbelievable. And what he's doing is going against what he was told not to do. So he is protesting his own campus. He's protesting a genocide. He's doing something here that he was told not to do, but he's going to do it anyways. And listen to the room erupt. Here he is, Logan Rozos, denouncing the genocide in Gaza at his graduation speech.
Freaking out a lot about this speech, honestly. And as I search my heart today in addressing you all, my moral and political commitments guide me to say that the only thing that is appropriate to say in this time and to a group this large is a recognition of the atrocities currently happening in Palestine. I want to say that the genocide currently occurring is supported politically and militarily by the United States, is paid for by our tax dollars, and has been live streamed to our phones for the past 18 months. And that I do not wish to speak only to my own politics today, but to speak for all people of conscience, all people who feel the moral injury of this atrocity. And I want to say that I condemn this genocide and complicity in this genocide. Thank you to the class of 2025, and congratulations.
So these are the kind of moments that I'm sure this kid Logan's going to look back at, and anybody who was in that room are going to look back at and say, not only was he on the right side of things, but he set an example of what courage looks like. And lo and behold, and I know you guys probably aren't going to be surprised to hear that the student Logan Rozos had his diploma withheld for doing that by NYU. They've withheld his diploma, and they're threatening further disciplinary action. That's what he's dealing with right now, today, because this was yesterday. That's what he's dealing with. But that's the sacrifice of courage sometimes. And the reaction in that room tells you something. Tells you something that there's something more important going on right now than checking boxes for your college and your personal well-being, your personal career, that we have to sometimes sacrifice these things. Sacrifice relationships, sacrifice job opportunities. We all have to do it. We get on lists. We get punished. We get made examples of. So when we see that at a graduation speech at NYU and we see the response from the crowd, we know that there's still something good in our humanity, and particularly this younger generation. And whatever the reprobation is on this guy, whatever they do, besides they've already taken the diploma, but whatever else punishment, make an example of him, they're not going to take away this moment from him. They're not going to take away. This moment has been documented and shared and will be shared forever. They can't take away that. They can cancel him. They can punish him, expel him. I mean, I guess, it's graduation. So, but you can take away a degree, but you can't take away his experience and our experience, anyone's experience listening to that, not to mention the school itself. He got the education. He can do whatever he needs to do from here on out for himself. But that was the correct move. And this is the type of protest we need, because the people in power are not going to do it. Don't get your hopes up anymore for Trump declaring a Palestinian state. That's not happening. It's not happening. Bernie and AOC, Israel's got a right to defend itself. It's going to be that garbage from here on out, and that's all it's going to be. So this is all we have. So kudos to Logan Rozos for moment of courage, moment of truth. And that's why we needed to give him the bonus loudest voice of the week. Okay. That about wraps it up for the show. I want to thank everybody who tuned in today. You guys, your engagement has been awesome. There's tons of more comments we weren't able to get to. But however, I will be sharing some of these on the credits when we roll the credits, and getting some of you guys in there, or Jamie might help us out with that. Actually, yeah, if Jamie's still, maybe he can help us out with that when we roll the credits. And I want to thank Jamie on the ones and twos, Jamie's Cheese Slice. Obviously, Craig Pasa, Jardula, great co-host coming in for us for a lot of the show today, which was awesome. And that should about do it. Next week, it looks like we just booked a follow-up interview with none other than Dr. Shiva. So we have some stuff to talk about. Third-party candidate. We have a follow-up interview with Dr. Shiva. That should be interesting. So I'm announcing it now for the first time. And then later, we're going to have Dr. David Martin on the show with us. That's going to be an amazing conversation. We look forward to that. And after that, I think we are close to, I'm not going to officially announce it, but it looks like we are working on getting Dr. Mary Bowden here as well. Jay Scott is working on that for us to line that schedule up and get her here. This is great. We got some great doctors coming up on the show. We're going to have some other guests as well. We always are looking to make the show as fulfilling as possible for you guys, cover as many topics as we possibly can twice a week on the show. Don't forget to hit the like and the share and all that stuff. It really, really helps us with the algorithm as we are fighting back against the military industrial complex, big pharma, and this censorship industrial complex every single day. We're going to leave you with this on the outro. This is podcaster Owen Schroyer. Yes, Owen Schroyer. He's denouncing Israel on his podcast. He's saying we are done. And I don't know how late to the table he was, but it don't matter. I'm down with anybody that's willing to throw their hands in the air and say, enough of this BS. We are done with you. So let's get that message out to as many people as possible that might be even hearing it for the first time. It's okay. Welcome to our side of truth, the side of justice, the side of the people. That's what it's about. We are non-tribal here, guys. non-tribal, gives us the best way we can look at the world without those goggles on, those kind of lenses that take the peripheral out. We want to bring our peripheral vision back into play so we can see the whole world from the largest, clearest perspective as possible as we do our day-to-day investigation of what's really going on in this world and how we can fight for a better world and for the people against the power. So that's it for today. We'll see you guys here next week on the Homeless Left, Tuesdays, Thursdays, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. And until then, remember, always go at the world with courage, with conviction, and above all else, principle. Power to the people, guys. And we will see you next time. Take care. Oh, here it is. Okay, playing the outro for you. See you guys next time.
Fight Iran. You go form an army and fight Iran. You go to Israel and fight Hamas. We are American people. It's not our problem. And you're not going to convince us otherwise. We're done. Israel has been convincing us that their issues and their enemies in the Middle East are ours since the 80s. And all it's done is cost us trillions of dollars and tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of American lives. We are done. The deception is over. The game is over. And you're not going to insult us because we're done playing. You're not going to insult us because we're done with Israel's wars and done with you controlling the right-wing geopolitical discourse. We're done, and we're not going to be insulted. You've gone too far. Israel's time running our foreign policy is over.